A pleasant afternoon to each and everyone. To the school's division superintendent, Dr. Loretta B. Recampo, CESO 5. To the OIC Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Arturo A. Tolentino. To the CID Chief, Mr. Lebrado F. Torres. To the Education Program Supervisors. Likewise, the Public Schools District Supervisors. To our school heads, to the facilitators, and to the teacher participants, good afternoon. Welcome to the first day of our Division Online Beginning Reading Series, Reskilling K-12 Teachers Reading Literacy in the Delivery of Instructions. It is necessary to train our beginning reading pupils in a way that helps make reading a daily habit and a lifelong love. Thus, the reason for this 3-day webinar, to be able to equip us with various topics on beginning reading, and also to reskill the teachers with essential competencies in teaching reading. To begin with, let us have the singing of National Anthem, followed by prayer and Pasay hymn.
Ayang magiging pera sa silangan ng puso sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting. Sa manlulutig, di ka pasisig. Sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mo mukaw. Ay nilabang tula at awit sa paglayang inahan. Ang isip ng patawat mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning. Ang bituin at araw na kailan pa may di magiging. Lupa ng araw ng walhati pagsinta. Buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Sa piling mo, aming ikaya na pag may mga api. Ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Panalangin. Amang lumikha, taos-puso kami nagpapasalamat sa buhay na iyong ipinagkaloob sa amin. Salamat sa lahat ng taong iyong ipinadala magmula sa aming pamilya, kaibigan, katrabaho sa sangayon ng kagawaran ng edukasyon na matapat na naglilingkod sa bansa at sa iyo. Salamat sa lahat ng mga biyayang nagbibigay sigla at lakas sa amin sa kabila ng kasalukuyang pandemya na ating nararanasan. Hindi ito hadlang upang kami maging instrumento ng karunungan sa mga kabataan. Patnubayan niyo ang aming mga guro upang magampanan namin ang aming mga responsibilidad at pagpulong nakaayon sa aming buhay. Bigyan niyo kami ng kalakasan, katalinuhan at kapasyahan upang maitaguyod ang pagsubok ng buhay sa ngalan ng inyong bukong na siyang tumubos ng aming kasalanan. Amen.
Mabuhay lungsod ng Pasay, perlas ng kamay nilaan, hangal ay kaunlaran sa lahat ng larangan. Mabuhay lungsod ng Pasay, lungawan ng sandaigdigan, ugali, mapagtanggap ng tunay na mamamayan. Pasay, mahal kong bayan, sa puso'y nag-iisa. Pasay, dakilang bayan, Pasay, mabuhay ka. Ang lahat ay makaliyos, makabansa, makatao. Masinop at mapagmahal, ang tunay na Pasayero. Pasay, mahal kong bayan, sa puso'y nag-iisa. Pasay, dakilang bayan, Pasay, mabuhay ka. Pasay, mahal kong bayan, sa puso'y nag-iisa. Pasay, dakilang bayan, Pasay, mabuhay ka. Pasay, mabuhay ka.
Now, let us proceed to the acknowledgement of participants and the webinar norms. Let's hear it from the Cluster 1 TSDS, Mrs. Evelyn Ramos.
To our esteemed SDS, Dr. Loretta Victory Campos, SO5, our young and brilliant OIC ASDS, Dr. Arturo Tolentino, kind and open-minded, our CID Chief, Mr. Librado F. Torres, to all very supportive school heads and highly motivated teachers, pleasant afternoon to all of us. It is my pleasure to welcome the participants to this webinar. From Cluster 1, Epifanio de los Santos Elementary School, 16 teachers from kinder to grade 3. Rafael Palma Elementary School, 9 teachers. Bernabe Elementary School, 8 teachers. From Cluster 2, Padre Zamora Elementary School, 20 teachers. Padre Burgos Elementary School, 25 teachers. And Juan Sumulong Elementary School, 21 teachers from kinder to grade 3. Cluster 3, Timoteo Paez Elementary School, 59 teachers. Apelo Cruz Elementary School, 23 teachers. And Marcelo Elementary School, 23 teachers from kinder to grade 3. Cluster 4, Jose Rizal Elementary School, 27 teachers. Andres Bonifacio Elementary School, 22 teachers. Cotamco Elementary School, 21 teachers from kinder to grade 3. Cluster 5, P. Villanueva Elementary School, 15 teachers. Philippine School for the Deaf, 17 teachers. Philippine National School for the Blind, 5 teachers from kinder to grade 3. Cluster 6, Kalayaan Elementary School, 54 teachers. Villamor Air Base Elementary School, 32 teachers. Rivera Village Elementary School, 23 teachers from kinder to grade 3. And Cluster 7, Maricabal Elementary School, 28 teachers. Don Carlos Elementary School, 23 teachers. And Cuneta Elementary School, 12 teachers, a total of 483 teachers from kinder to grade 3. Nais po namin ipaalam sa inyo na ang seryeng ito ay mula sa natutuhan ng mahuhusay nating mga gurong tagapanayam sa 3 araw na ito na natutuhan nila sa 3 araw na webinar on beginning reading mula o nahinandog ng NCR mula noong February 13, 2021, February 20 at February 27, 2021. 10 house rules on online meeting. Be on time. Mute your microphone when you are not speaking. Respect the speaker by listening attentively. If you have questions, use the chat box for moderator to note it. 5, be careful of what you wear while on your video conference from home. Check your internet connection, your headset, microphone, and camera. Stay focused, avoid multitasking. Prepare for a backup plan. Just speak the normal. And post only relevant messages and comments. Kaya makinig po tayong mabuti sa lahat ng magiging tagapanayam, hindi lamang sa araw na ito, kundi sa mga susunod pang araw o sa 3 araw na serye.
Thank you, Ma'am Evelyn Ramos, for those reminders. Yan. Okay. So, dapat po maging mindful tayo for those reminders that was mentioned by our Cluster 1 PSDS, Ma'am Evelyn Ramos. Now, let us all listen to the message coming from our Dynamic Schools Division Superintendent, no other than Dr. Loretta B. Torricampo, CESO 5.
A wonderful afternoon to everybody. Teka, buksan ko lang po ko. So, first, I just want to congratulate Ma'am Bukirin and also Ma'am Ramos for this activity. We already started the first leg of this target target of the division, improving the reading skills of our students, of our learners. Our NCR leaders are really trying their best to support this program. As of this date, they loaded an amount, not a big amount, enough for just for the training, to show their concern and passion not to die that program, so the program will not die and will not be affected by the pandemic. Kaya ma'am, meron ka pang isang budget. Kahit na naggastos na natin ng division, yung isa, yung unang ginawa ninyo, may continuation pa for the ELAN. I assume that this is a partnership of the Filipino and English subject areas. Tama ba, Ma'am Ramos? Hindi ka may iwan, ano? Ma'am Ramos, nandiyan ka ba? Hindi sumasagot si Ma'am. Wala na.
Opo,
Okay, so
ma'am.
partner to mama, hindi lang to English. Since the NCR has downloaded a certain amount, we will again meet or you will submit proposal so that we can disburse that amount for the goodness for our students, them to learn. We know the fact that students who have no skills in reading will not will be expecting that there will be failures in their lives, especially when they will get exam in other subject areas. Pag talagang mahina sa reading, laking effect sa science and math. So the two subject areas, English and Filipino, talagang kayo yung pundasyon ng mga kabataan para makabasa. And sabi nga, smart people continues to read. And how can they read if they don't know the steps, the beginning steps? And this time, through this division online, beginning reading skills, the emphasis is online. Nag-aalala nga ako nung mga lumipas na araw, sabi ko, nako, yun ngang ordinaryong nasa harap na ng estudyante ang mga galing na guro. Hindi pa rin talaga 100% nasusuyod. So, it's a big challenge for all of us for us in the field to show our concern, our care for our students. Hindi talaga katatamaran na hayaan na lang silang mawala at hindi matuto. So with this type of seminar, I hope you will listen and do not multitask. Every step should be learned. And if you can innovate more, try it. Do it, please, for our students. We are lucky for all the teachers. We are lucky. Why? In this pandemic, we have not lost our job. We continue to earn. And yesterday, we had our allowance. And this coming May, our bonus, mid-year bonus will be coming. So let us thank the Lord by showing our uh, our hardworking efforts to our students. Baka kasi takalan tayo. Ano ba ginagawa ninyo? So, pakita din naman natin na we are thankful for this opportunity for our job and let us deepen our commitment in doing our task. So, napakaswerte talaga ng ating departamento. Kaya tuloy-tuloy lang ang serbisyo. Let us take advantage with this seminar. We are many attending this division online. O ma'am, ano yung online na yan? Paano ba talagang magagamit to the fullest? And we hope that this program will continue to flourish and kahit pandemic, we will lessen the non-readers in Filipino and English. So good day to all. Bawal matulog, mag-chat down ng notes. Again, a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you so much for your message, Dr. Loretta B. Torrecampo. So, sabi nga ni Ma'am, no, amidst this pandemic, we are privileged na meron tayong mga webinars like this. So, let us all be thankful na meron tayong mga pagkakataong kahit ganito na ECQ tayo ay natututo pa rin tayo. Tulad nga ng sabi natin, para sa bata, para sa bayan. Okay, so at this point, let us have the rationale for this afternoon's webinar. Let's hear it from the Education Program Supervisor in English, Dr. Imelda V. Bukirin.
Thank you, Ms. Karen. Okay, to our highly competent and ever supportive Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Loretta B. Torrecampo, Dr. Arturo A. Tolentino, OIC Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Mr. Librado F. Torres, Chief Education Program Supervisor, Curriculum Implementation Division, Dr. Mirna B. Gaza, Chief SGOD, Education Program Supervisors, Public School District Supervisors, school heads, K-3 teacher participants, a blessed afternoon to all. Debit Order Number 001, Series of 2020, recognizes the professional growth of teachers as a key foundation to upgrading of the quality basic education. The specification of its recognition to the alignment of professional development priorities to the professional standard is specified in Debit Order Number 42, Series of 2017, PPST, the Results-Based Performance Management System Manual. Teachers should be provided with formal trainings which will make them proficient in their practices and professionally independent in the application of skills vital to the teaching and learning process. Furthermore, they should enhance their mastery on content, knowledge, and pedagogies in order to facilitate learning with appropriate and innovative teaching learning strategies. These major concerns have been addressed to the conduct of trainings and division learning action cells. However, the manifestation of its application in the classroom, which is noted during the classroom observations, do not justify the teacher's proficiency in the delivery of instruction, specifically in teaching beginning reading. The conceptual consideration that every teacher should be a reading teacher denotes the context of DepEd Memorandum number 173, series of 2019, Hamon, Bawat Bata Bumabasa, which addresses the strengthening of Every Child a Reader program, ECARP. It also aims to capacitate teachers to become reading teachers. The notion that once the teacher were equipped with essential competencies in teaching reading, they will eventually demonstrate the competencies which will nurture the learner's proficiency in reading. So in support to this mandate and challenge is the proposed activity to reskill the key stage teachers in teaching beginning reading. Although series of training were conducted to capacitate the teachers, there is still a need to strengthen and reacquaint them in order to continuously grow and learn new strategies which they can apply in the new learning delivery modality implemented in the division. So the alignment of the session to the elements in reading, the oral language, phonological awareness, phonics, and vocabulary are considered to be beneficial to teachers as this will give them opportunities to enhance their competencies in order to build a strong foundation of the learner's literacy in reading. In like manner, the parent's literacy in the delivery of instruction shall take place in the training designed to capacitate the teachers to guide the parents in teaching reading. Hence, the conduct of this training is imperative to the realization of the ultimate goal to make every teacher literate in the delivery of beginning reading instruction. The objectives of this webinar at the end of the activity, the teacher participants should be able to gain understanding on the importance of reading in the academic and practical lives of the learners, as well as their role in raising fluent and lifelong learners. Specifically, this aims to acquire strategies in teaching beginning reading, demonstrate reading literacy in the delivery of instruction to guide the parents in teaching reading, and develop activity sheets for the beginning reading most important learning competencies. That's all. Again, good afternoon.
Thank you, Dr. Imelda Bucarin, for enlightening us with the importance of this three-day webinar. So, nabanggit nga ni Ma'am, no? So, we have the 3Bs, Bawat Bata, Bumabasa, and also the ECARP, Every Child a Reader program. So, we have this series of webinars para talaga sa ating mga mag-aaral because that is our main goal, no? To para maturuan lalo na sa pagbabasa ang ating mga mag-aaral. So now, we can proceed to the webinar proper. So for the session 1, the topic to be discussed is about teaching from a distance. And it will be shared to us by the Master Teacher 1 of Maricaban Elementary School. Let us all welcome Ma'am Mary Ann D. Macaraeg.
Thank you, Ma'am Karen. Welcome to the first session of our three-day webinar on beginning reading for kinder to grade 3 teachers. To all the men and women behind the realization of this webinar, and to all the kinder to grade 3 participants, a pleasant afternoon po sa lahat. It is with great privilege to be with you this afternoon. And together, we will share insights about teaching from a distance amidst the pandemic that we are experiencing in the new normal in education. Hats off to all dedicated teachers who continuously embracing the challenges along the way since day one, that we knew we are going to have distance learning for this school year. With the guidance of our very dynamic heads in our department, we have upskilled so much as we never stop updating ourselves to be able to deliver the most essential essential and quality learning competencies for our dear learners. We all agree that along the way, we have sacrifices and really have to adjust our sales to be able to meet the competition. We bet and my own classes with the new learning situations. Day by day, we get through and got used with our routines and adjusted with the ways we should deliver the learnings and support that our learners expected of us. We are teaching from a distance, and so they are learning from a distance. And also with their parents who might lost their jobs this pandemic. They are experiencing being away from loved ones and having hard time providing the needs of their families now that their school children will be needing some machineries for the distance learning. Since day one of our distance learning in our division, we are into planning and consultations, virtual meetings, webinars for training and orientations of the teachers for the distance learning situation. We are advised and encouraged to install and learn the different applications for better connections and engagements. We are also into group chats where we can easily communicate with our parents and transmit information regarding the distance learning. We are also creating self-learning modules for our learners in the division. Teaching summary of the learning tasks for learners and parents. Connecting with the concerned persons in the different platforms using short messaging, Google Meet, and messengers. We are also into online registration and we connect through online. Okay, with our parents and learners, we give orientation to them for the distance learning. We also conduct mapping to reach out for our learners and parents since we can encounter with them. And a lot more to carry out the programs and projects of the Department of Education. And we are doing them simultaneously na hindi po natin namamalayan. So as teachers, we should have bigger hearts for learners. In this session, we will be imparted with useful strategies and suggested best practices to guide us during this distance learning as teachers, in guiding our learners, and parents in teaching their children at home. Since we are in the distance learning, we may consider them. We will be having a resource speaker in the person of Teacher Annie Rosa Almario, the Vice President of Adarna House, the Philippines' first and largest children's book publishing house, co-founder and director of the Raya School, a progressive school that aims to instill a sense of national pride and love for science among young children, an educator, a renowned speaker in various educational trainings and seminars. And while watching, I encourage you to let us reflect on ourselves. If we have been doing some of these practices even pre-pandemic, during this pandemic, and when we find them very effective, we can also adopt them when we have our face-to-face classes. Because I know in reality, as teachers, we go extra mile to be our best self in every step of the way. Basta po, para sa bata, para sa bayan, ginagawa po natin ang ating makakaya. Let us all watch Teacher Annie Rosa Almario with her topic, teaching from a distance.
So we decided to begin our beginning reading series at the real starting point of the learning situation, and that is to think about our context, to reflect on our role as teachers, and to reflect on our relationship with the families that we work with both the parents and the students. And that is what I will be talking about today. Do look at the points on they talk about our learning situation, how self-regulation among our students is crucial, how it's necessary to have a diversity of instructional approaches, how feedback should be a part of every learning cycle, and how I've added this fourth point to Hattie's 3 points. Teachers and parents have to collaborate. These are truths that we can say are truths about our current learning situation. But when you think about it deeply, these are also truths about our pre-pandemic learning situation. So what does that tell us? That the things that were important and true pre-pandemic are still true and important during this pandemic. So we cannot blame our context. We cannot blame whatever failures we might face or obstacles on the remote learning context, because these are still true for our situation. So our focus should still be the same on improving our children's self-regulation skills. Actually, mas importante siya ngayon during the pandemic situation. On presenting many and varied and flexible instructional approaches to our parents and our students, to give our students adequate feedback to help them succeed this school year, and to always work together with parents. These are questions that we ask in any classroom and in any subject. Diba? How can I adjust instruction to help my students at any point in the school year? How can I check for students' understanding? How can I give students and even parents clear feedback? And how can I create opportunities for productive social interaction? These are questions we asked pre-pandemic, and I urge you to still ask these questions during this school year because they are still relevant. I have given a lot of webinars to teachers on how they can prepare themselves for this school year and continually take care of themselves throughout this school year, because that's very important. And I've come up with this, hindi naman siya mantra, but just a statement that in order to be very efficient and effective this school year, we have to be our best selves. And what does that mean? It means that we have to take care of ourselves. We have to think deeply about the teaching profession. We have to think about the very important relationships we have with the families who are enrolled in our school. And we have to think about the things that will help us with our job, be more effective with our job. We have to do the best. Okay? Alam ko yung iba sa atin ay matagal nang nagtuturo, at feeling natin tayo na rin ang pinakamagaling sa larang natin o sa pagtuturo ng subject na tinuturo natin. Pero talagang napaka-challenging ng school year nito at kailangan nating maghanap ng mga paraan para maging best pa rin. And these are just some of the suggestions that I did not think of, but that I've learned are most effective given my many encounters and interviews with both public and private school teachers. These are the things that help us prepare ourselves for our job, okay? And they will be relevant until the end of the school year. That we figure out, if we haven't done this, to figure out a daily and a weekly routine. And I state here, it has to be figured out with the people in our home. Kasi may mga kasama tayo sa bahay. Kaya pag gumawa tayo ng schedule natin from Monday until, yung iba nga until Sunday, hindi lang Friday. We also learn the that are not just job related but are related to our family obligations, our family responsibilities. There will be times when we have uh, to drop whatever we're doing because we have to cook meals for our family, or we have to clean up, or we have to help our children as well. Hindi lang yung kids na hinahandle natin as students, but own kids, help them with being. And when we figure out that routine, we have to make sure that there are breaks for self-care, breaks for us to breathe, breaks for us to decompress. Okay? When we plan out a daily and weekly routine, it helps us stay on schedule. It helps us maintain our focus, the tasks that require our focus. And it also gives us something to look forward to. I've always advised teachers to reserve some fun for the end of the week or for the weekend. Hindi yun masama. At parang nakakatawa kasi ina-advise ko yan sa inyo, but I'd like to think that personal development and reflecting on our work is also fun and sort of relaxing for teachers. So when we figure out this daily and weekly routine, I also urge you to sit down with your family and communicate this schedule and routine with the rest of the family, just to avoid stress and unwanted encounters with members of our family. Okay. The second piece of advice I'd like to share with you is to organize your physical environment. You don't need a separate room. There has to be a designated space where you work, because it's important for your mental health to have a delineation between your work environment and your family relaxed environment. So if it's a desk, if it's a table and a chair where you put your work stuff, I encourage you to delineate that space and to consider that that's the space for work, and the spaces outside are for family and personal encounters. Also, figure out the necessary tools and skills that you need. For most private school teachers who do synchronous classes, I always tell them not to be guilty about buying uh, your ring light, or buying a nice headset, or getting yourself a nice office chair. These are necessary. Hindi sila luho. These are needed for you to be effective and for you to be happy with your job. I also urge you to figure out new skills. In our school, for example, in the Raya school, it was pretty challenging for the older teachers, and that includes myself, to figure out the technology that we need, the learning management system, the new software, communication platforms that were new to us. But these are, again, skills that are necessary for you to do your job better. So it's good for you to upskill. I always also tell teachers that at the end of this school year, realize that you have upskilled so much because you have learned so much about the remote learning setup, about technology, about your own limits as a teacher, and that makes the experience fruitful and meaningful. Another important point that I'd like to share with you in preparing yourselves constantly is to recognize your emotions. Okay, so minsan nagsusungit lang tayo, o feeling natin sobra nating down, na hindi natin ma-explain. Okay, at minsan dahil lang yon sa fatigue natin from being cooped up inside the house for a long time, or from uh, not having a lot of care, or we're just tired because the remote learning setup takes a lot from us compared to our face-to-face situation. So it's highly advised by mental health experts that we recognize our emotion. We label our emotions. That's the first step. Know when we're tired, know when we've done enough, know when it's time for us to sit down or to lie down or to give ourselves a break, to get a snack, to get a cup of coffee. And then when we've already succeeded in labeling our emotions, then we figure out a self-care routine. So whenever you're feeling sad or you're feeling too tired, ano ngayon yung nagagawa ninyo to lift yourself up and not make it a permanent situation at home? Let our family know that when we are at our working space, we are at work, and we would prefer that we not be disturbed except for emergencies. We also set healthy rules and boundaries with parents. We should tell them that they can only contact us during work hours, for example, or if you're willing to be contacted in the evening, set an hour when you can be contacted, where you can make calls with parents who really need your help, or where you can talk to a chat group that you've organized on your section's parents. Also set rules and boundaries with students. Alam ko, nauubos din yung mga teacher when they make themselves too available to their students, but they also want to be accessible to their students. So this can be done. You can be both accessible and healthy at the same time and not too tired by setting boundaries. In the same way that you set time boundaries with your parents, you can do the same with your students. Okay, let's go to working with parents. Even though it's the middle of the school year, I don't think it's too late to have a parents orientation or a reorientation of parents if you think you need it. Okay, dahil nakatapos na tayo ng dalawang quarter, if I'm not mistaken, or we're in the middle of the second quarter. Alam na natin, 'di ba? Sinong mga students natin o parents ang special rest at anong klase ng mga challenges ang kinakaharap nila sa bahay. So we can organize our thoughts on these challenges, talk to our fellow teachers about best practices and the way that they think we can overcome these challenges, and meet with your parents. Okay, you can do a video, a Google Meet just like this, or you can also do a Facebook Messenger group chat. You can make a video of yourself telling them about these important points. Define what a conducive learning environment is when you have students or families enrolled with you na parang maingay lagi yung bahay nila, or wala masyadong delineation, or nakahihirapan yung bata mag-aral kasi wala siyang space. Let's give our parents advice on how the home environment can be converted into a conducive learning environment for their kids. In the same way that I told you that you need a workspace, a well delineated space for work for yourself, the kids also need a study space. And I don't mean a room. They just need a little corner where they can work on their school tasks, where they expect their parents to help them out when they're there. And it is free of clutter, sana noise free, and it also has all the materials that they need. Their books are there, their notebooks are there, their writing materials are there. Okay, so that will help them know that when they're there, it's work time, and they also know what they're expected to do when they're in that space. We can also conduct a parents orientation at this point in order to help them figure out a routine for the family. Again, this is parallel to what I advise you to do as teachers. Also ask the parents to figure out a routine that works for their family. Lalo na yung mga pamilya na parang nanay at tatay at kailangan nila mag-work from home, o may aalis, may kailangan umalis sa bahay, so walang tutulong sa mga anak. Kailangan lang mag-figure out ng schedule. At tulungan natin sila kasi highly stressful din ang panahon na to para sa parents na hindi sanay na laging nandiyan ang kanilang mga anak. Hindi sila sanay na kailangan sila ng mga anak nilang tumulong sa kanilang pag-aaral. I think it's a good idea to have a video of yourself, if you cannot do it live, going through a module. Okay, so since kayo naman din ang sumulat ng module, kayo din, so you can go through the parts of the module, because when the parents receive their distance learning kit, they are overwhelmed by a number of concepts and skills that they have to cover in a week. So you can help them go through a module, and if you have time, you can also give them a weekly overview at the start of the week. Okay, or gusto nyo every Friday or every Saturday, there is a time when you send a message at week that we will have the following lessons in English, in science, in math, in MAPE. These are the lessons para nakaka-prepare na yung parents, diba? Aside from that, alam na rin nila yung mga, ito hindi ko to kaya, hindi ko alam tong subject na to, so kailangan ko mag-research o kailangan ko ng help ni teacher with these subjects. Okay, so give them time to prepare themselves, because again, they are not teachers. So let's not expect them to do the job as well as we do. But we are expected to help them as much as we can. Okay? Teach them how to equip themselves. As I said, teach them where to look for useful links. Teach them to use YouTube not just for entertainment, because there are a lot of educational videos in YouTube that they can access. And then also, I think this is very important to set goals with parents. Tayo, lagi tayong may goals for learning, okay? Inaabot natin ngayon po ng MELTs, di ba? Nagsiset din tayo ng goals para sa mga estudyante natin as their advisors or subject teachers. Pero ngayon, ang co-teacher na ay ang mga magulang. At importanteng pinapaalam natin na alam nyo, mommy and daddy, nanay at tatay, ang ating mithiin para sa taon na to sa iba't ibang subject ay ang mga ito. Okay? And then I put here, how are we going to remember these? Because I tell parents that in order for them also to stay focused on their co-teaching job, in their assistant teaching job this year, they should put the goals in a place that's easy to see. So sometimes they put it in the learning space. I advise them to put it on the learning space of their kids. Nakalagay lang sa English ito sana. At the end of the year, matututo na yung anak ko magbasa. Alam na niya tong mga sight words na to. Marunong na siyang gumawa ng basic human figure sa art. Okay, so nandun yung goals para nakikita ng parents, alam nila they're working towards that goal and they have a year to complete it. And their students, your students also see those goals and they work together with their parents to reach them. So again, this parents orientation is really a workshop. It's for you to help your parents get used to the distance learning setup, for them to get a rhythm. Diba? There's a learning time for their kids. And then there's also a time when you tell them about what to expect for the week. And then at the end of the week, maybe set a feedback session with them by group or individually for those in need. Okay? How else can we work better with parents? It's good to open official communication channels and times with their parents. Meron akong isang teacher na lokang-loka siya kasi pala she was talking to parents on 3 different platforms. Parang may Telegram, may Viber, may FB Messenger. Maluloka talaga kayo doon. Kailangan ninyong i-organize yung buhay niyo at it help organize din yung buhay ng mga parents and help them adhere to your rules by opening one official communication channel. So if they want your help every week, if they want to you, kung kailangan nilang sumangguni sa inyo lagi, kailangan ninyong i-require na may isa kayong official communication channel. Okay? And again, remember, this communication channel is open and functioning only at the times that you set. Take care of yourselves, teachers. Share on this official communication channel, you can also share resources. I know that some teachers have started a Facebook group for their grade level or for their section, for all the families that are enrolled with them. And this is where they post helpful videos. This is where they post videos of themselves, okay, doing mini lessons. And this is also where they can direct parents to resources. But don't overwhelm them. Hindi sila teacher. So if you can give one useful link, lesson for the week per subject, that would be great. Or give them a worksheet, an extra worksheet that you've done on your own time, or give them ideas on how they can teach a lesson better. You can put in place para pwede rin nilang balik. For the teachers who can do this, I also advise you for a helpline to parents. Give them a particular time where you can talk to them or chat individually on their current challenges related to your subject. Okay. Lastly, let's check in on those who need help the most. Ano naman yun, di ba? Sa kilala nyo yung bata na pinakakailangan kayo po. At ngayon, hindi naman nagbabago yung sitwasyon na yun. Kung sino nangangailangan sa inyo, kailangan pa rin kayo ngayon. At baka nga nadagdagan pa yung mga nangangailangan. Later on, we'll be talking about students who are at risk. Okay, an important part and a thorny issue always is the issue of assessment. And how do we work with parents on assessment? Okay, syempre, ayaw natin na assessment activities kailangan natin silang paliwanagan kung ano talaga yung goal ng assessment. The goal of assessment is for us to find out where a child is at in a particular scale or concept or area of knowledge that we are teaching them or we want them to learn. And then when we know where they are at, that will help us adjust our activities in order them to reach the learning goal. So again, it's assessment, not assigning grades. It's not giving tests. It's knowing where the students are, knowing where the children are so that we can help them better. In order to carry out assessment effectively this school year, it's important for us to tell the parents, okay? And the goal is for improvement, your child's improvement. Hindi natin goal na bigyan siya ng 98 or 99 na grade. Ang goal natin ay matulungan yung anak ninyo to reach all the learning intentions and goals for the year. And in order to carry out assessment, parents will need these from us. We will need to give them checklists ang pinapagawa natin. Anong klaseng essay ang magaling? Ano naman yung hindi masyadong mahusay? Ano naman yung kailangan talaga ng tulong? So mabuting bigyan sila ng sample essay, each level of proficiency. It's also good to guide our parents with multiple assessment activity ideas. So we are working on multiple intelligences here. We can have them do activities that are good for kinesthetic learner or good for learn interpersonal, ang inclination nila, to give them multiple ideas kasi nahihirapan din yung parents to think how to assess their kids. At minsan, yung assessment activity na nakalagay sa module ay hindi enough. Because we are talking about beginning reading, all of those who are attending this training will get an assessment checklist for beginning reading that we hope you can use, not just for this pandemic school year, but for the following school year. Okay, and this checklist can be used by you as teachers with parents. Okay, so tuturuan namin kayo to use the checklist para maturuan niyo yung mga magulang paano sila mag-a-assess for beginning reading. Because we're para sa mga parents na i-record yung mga anak nila while reading passages that you gave them or words or sentences that you gave them, teach them pero kung matuturuan nyo sila, it will be good for them to send the kwenta yung concepts and skills na tinuturo natin kung hindi nila ito matatrans. So for teaching them to write certain words, encourage natin sila na ang assessment nila sa anak nila ay pasulatin ng list para sa palengke, anong mga kailangan bilhin, di ba? Para makita natin yung level ng invented spelling, for example, ng anak natin, o tingnan natin yung letter knowledge niya. So these are simple activities that they can do, which can also be ways of assessing their kids. Okay, and then we go to the final part of my presentation. After preparing the parents that you collaborate with, now it's time to connect with your students. And remember, at any point in this school year, wellness should be first. So let's check on our students. Let's check on their socio-emotional situation. Kung masaya sila, kung kumusta sila, siguro mas silang gawaing bahay ngayon dahil lagi silang nasa bahay. Baka stressful yung mga bahay nila. So kumusta, mag-find tayo ng time to always check on their wellness. Wellness first. You always set out to know your students. So ngayon, kahit distance learning, let's also out to know your the first week of school is usually spent knowing the teacher, knowing your section, and knowing each other well. So technology will give you tools in order for you to get to know your students well and to give your students the chance to know each other well too. Okay, so use those opportunities. If it's asking a prompt for the day, what favorite food, okay, or what's your favorite K-drama, 'di ba? Ganun lang na question, and it will help you know your students better. Send out that prompt every day, okay, to start off your day. Okay, when you connect with your students, it's also important to set goals and expectations. Okay, at ito, ang advice ko dito ay one-on-one. Hindi ko alam kung posible para sa size ng mga hinandle ninyo na klase, pero it always helps to sit down with a chat, kahit chat lang, hindi kayo nagkikita, and to set goals, comparing themselves to how they did last year, not comparing themselves to other students, and set goals and expectations across the subjects. Okay. Yung huli, na mention ko kanina na question na lagi nyo dapat tanongin throughout the school, how can I create socialization opportunities? Is it through a Friday chat from 4 to 4:30 with all my kids present, 'di ba? Na pwedeng nagbabangayan lang kayo o nagbabangayan lang sila, pero still it's socialization because they're talking to their peers. I have found out that some of my kids are doing certain games kasi may chat function yung game na yon. Mga games lang sa Facebook, so nakakapag-connect and they feel like they're playing with their classmates. So if there are opportunities like that, that you find, make sure that you encourage your students to do so. Help them connect with not just you, but their peers, because it will help them get through the school year. Okay, again, make yourself accessible, but set boundaries. And know which of your students are especially challenged, so you can find the time. Please set aside time to reach out to these students individually. Okay. And then also, if you think that some students need remediation, you can still do this from a distance. And I've seen teachers do this through a chat group, through a group call, through Zoom, through Google Meet, through Microsoft Teams. Nagagawa nila to. Nag-set aside sila ng once a week where students who need help, or sometimes parents who need help, can sit in and the teacher can actually teach a mini lesson. Tapos nire-record to at sinisend sa buong klase. So pwede pa rin natin gawin yung mga ginagawa natin to aid our students. Baka mas cumbersome lang this school year and they are worthy. Sino yung mga students natin whom we need to give special attention to and we have to set aside time to reach out to individually? They are the students at risk, and some of them are at risk because of the pandemic. Okay? These are the students who have always needed a teacher to perform well in school. So it's either they need extra help with comprehension, for example, or kailangan ng emotional support. So alam naman natin sino yung mga bata na to. Students who live in stress-filled homes, maybe their parents are always fighting, or there's always so much housework to be done at laging siya yung gumagawa. Students with limited reading, writing, and mathematical proficiency. We also know who those are. If you don't know, you can do a baseline assessment at the start of the year or at some point in the year to know who these are. Pero at least alam nyo na kung sino to, di ba? Team and being in this pandemic situation just lowers it a bit more. So they need our encouragement and a whole lot of positivity from their teachers and parents. And those who are alone, because they do not have pair available to them. So what do we do for these students? We try to find maybe older, reach out to this student kahit every day. Okay, kasi baka mag-isa lang talaga sila and they cannot manage on their own. Okay, remember, when we are doing assessment, the most important part of assessment is giving feedback. I think you have the most elaborate and effective assessment tests, and the results of this anak, nandito ka, oh, tingnan mo yung ginawa, yung sa reading mo. Ang ibig sabihin dyan ay kailangan pa nating mas pagbutihan yung short vowels. Okay? Or parang kailangan pang, or sabihin nyo, Mami, parang kailangan pa nating mag sa alphabet knowledge kasi tingnan nyo po yung results nung anak ninyo, di ba? So kayo ang makakabigay niyan. Pero sana after this beginning reading series, kaya din nating gabayan yung parents para makapagbigay din sila ng clear feedback on their own. I don't know if this is possible, but because we're doing our modules as we go, I think it's good for us to regularly in order for us to adjust materials and its arc. Kasi yun na yung function ng assessment, di ba? To know that uh, where the students are, and then to adjust our materials. Okay? And to advise our parents on how to adjust instruction and how they're doing learning at home based on where our students are. Itong assessment, kailangan natin lagi ito pag-isipan throughout this reading series. We're going to learn more about the domains of beginning reading at lahat niyan ay kailangan marunong tayo mag-assess. I also encourage you to have your students do simple self-assessment. Kahit kinder, kaya to. Okay? And it's always meaningful for a parent and a teacher to see their kids and students assessing themselves. Reflect on what I did well, okay, for the day, for the week. What do I need more practice with? Gugulat kayo kahit ang kinder student alam niya na I have trouble with reading this and I need to practice it. Okay. What do I need help with? So what do I need help from nanay and tatay, or what I need help from the teacher? And which activity gave you joy? What did you like doing? So when you get the results of this self-assessment, of course, this has benefits for the child because then the child gains metacognitive strategy na niya alam, hindi pa niya alam. And it helps them become more aware of what they're doing and more purpose in what they're doing. Okay, and that all results in din, di ba? Madami kayong napupunta sa self-assessment nila. Dahil wala tayo sa tabi nila, we will always rely on the feedback from the parents and the feedback from the kids themselves. Itong pang-apat, importante din siya, yung to figure out the activities that gave them joy para lagi ninyo itong gagamitin yung activity na to dahil ito pala yung interested sila. Remember when the activities are interesting to them, when it's highly motivating, it also results in a higher performance. Okay, remember, dear teachers, that it's not just distance learning that we're doing, it's actually crisis teaching. Okay, I got this from handbook by Fisher. And I was really struck by this statement kasi pwedeng mag-webinar tayo forever at alamin natin ano yung mga kailangan natin gawin effective with distance learning. Kailangan din nating isipin na we in a time of crisis. Doing our best to teach a lot of concepts and skills and whatever across the subjects. We should be mindful that we are teaching kids who are in the middle of a pandemic, who also need emotional support from us, and who also need care from us. So even if we are far from them, we should always remember they're not here just to impart knowledge, but also to impart care and love for them. Those are my
Thank you so much for your participation. I know what we have watched have added so much to our practices. Hope you have reflected a lot and got most takeaways from what our resource person had shared with us during the video presentation. And now let us all reflect. So teaching from a distance teach us so many struggles and how we cope up with those struggles. Okay, so she suggested some of the points that we can help get through with this, even though we are already in the second semester of our school year. So she suggested that we should understand our context. Okay, then in understanding our context, we should collaborate with the parents. Okay, minsan po kasi ang mga parents po kulang lang po sila na minsan binibigyan din po dapat natin sila ng attention and recognize their part dito po sa ating distance learning. Ang nasa bahay para magturo sa kanilang mga anak. Instructional approaches para po may adjust natin ito ah, ah, sa mga bata. Meron naman pong mahirap para sa ilang bata. So we have to meet at the middle para po mabigyan po natin po ng atensyon ang lahat ng pangangailangan po nila. Okay? Then we also have to prepare. Okay? Prepare ourselves. Okay? So ano po ba yung maibibigay natin kung wala tayo, kung hindi tayo ready? So, we have to figure out a daily and weekly routine, okay, para po sa ating sarili. Nung una po, talaga pong napakahirap kasi hindi natin alam kung ano po yung oras ng trabaho at saka sa oras na nasa bahay tayo kasi nasa bahay lang nga tayo. So, we came to a I came to a realization na dapat po kung ano pala yung routine ka dati, ganun pa rin. So, I should wake up in the morning, early in the morning, gawin ko na po yung mga dapat kong gawin sa umaga, then dress up na talagang papasok po ako sa eskwelahan. Because the children are all very much eager, okay, to see me in the morning. Then, I have learned to organize my own physical environment. Okay? So every month, I learn how to invest. Bumibili po ng kahit papaano. Kasi po, kapag maganda po yung ating working environment, masarap din po magtrabaho. And the children can see our effort na tayo po ay binibigay nating best para po sa kanila. Then recognize our emotions, napaka-importante rin po. Okay, alamin po natin kung kailan po tayo mapapagod na. Okay, alamin po natin kung meron pa tayong maibigay pa. Okay, so kailangan din po natin to take a break para po sa ating. Then, set a self-care routine. So, hindi naman po ibig sabihin na lalabas tayo. Okay, so sa bahay, maybe etong oras na to isi-set mo para magkaroon ka ng kaunting nap. Okay, para ma-refresh po ang ating aside from teaching online and checking the modules. Okay, another po na sinuggest ni Ma'am Almario ay working with parents. Okay, so nabanggit niya rin po kanina na parents now are one of our co-teachers. Okay, and they really need us to tap their shoulders. Okay, purihin po natin sila sa kanilang cooperation, sa kanilang participation, and they are really doing their very best. Okay? Alam po natin na minsan wala na po sa oras yung pagtatanong nila, wala na po sa schedule kung ano po, minsan kahit Sabado at Linggo. But we should have bigger hearts for them. Kasi yung iba pa nga po talaga nagtatrabaho. Yung iba po walang trabaho, pero kaso lang po yung emotions po nila ay nahahalo doon sa sitwasyon po natin ngayon. Okay, so i-guide po natin yung mga magulang to have better learning environment para sa kanilang mga anak. Okay, so kapag nandyan po yung mga bata, na feel din po nila na ito po ay learning time. Okay, nandiyan po yung kanilang materials, nandiyan po yung kanilang modules, okay, nandiyan po yung kanilang mga paper and pencils, okay, mga kanilang notebook, okay, para po napipil nila talaga pong nasa school sila. And we should advise them dress up na sila po ay talagang nasa eskwelahan. Teach the or guide rather the parents okay in answering the modules. Okay, may mga parents po talaga na sila ay matanong, wag po tayong mapagod na sagutin sila. Okay? Kasi gusto lang din po nila na sila po ay maituro nila ng tama yun sa kanilang mga anak. Since tayo rin naman po kasi ang gumawa ng mga modules, so tayo rin po yung makapagbigay ng mga input kay nito sa kanila. Then, have a constant or open communication with them. Pero sabi nga ni ma'am, dapat time para sa ating sarili. Tayo naman po kasi ay may iba pang gawain. So, yung mga parents naman po, unless na ito ay very important or emergency, mag-set po tayo ng schedule na kailan po nila tayo makakontak. Okay? Then advise them din po earlier, i-message po sila or i-text kung kailangan nyo din po sila makausap. Para naman po sila din po ay kung hindi po sila masyadong busy at kung busy pa sila, siguro ma-delay po natin ng konti. Then we could also share them some resources. Okay, ito po yung mga reading materials. Ito po yung karagdagan na activity sheet para sa mga bata. Ito po, paki-guide po sila dito. Nakikita natin yung mga magulang, nagbabalik po sila ng mga tin sila ma-advise. Then, check on those who really need help. Okay, so i-identify po natin siguro at this point in time, medyo alam na po natin or alam na po natin kung sino po talaga ang mga nangangailangan ng ating paggabay. Yung mga parents po na sila rin po nag-struggle para po masagutan yung mga modules, i-guide din po natin sila. Baka po mayroong ate or kuya na matutulungan din po sila. Then, working with parents on assessment. Okay, so dito po kinlaro sa atin na ang assessment po ay hindi para sa grading system. Ito po ay one way para ma-measure po ang mastery ng bata, yung mai-apply niya po ba ito sa real life situation. Okay, ito po ba ay natutunan niya, masasagutan niya po ba ito dahil sa skill na evaluate po natin at ma-diagnose. Baka naman po sobrang hirap ng test or sobrang dali naman po ng test para po din sa atin na mabigyan nila tayo ng feedback. Okay, kung paano natin mai-improve or paano natin pa mai-level yung test sa bata. So wag na ipaliwanag po natin sa kanila na ang assessment po ay hindi para sa grading system. Wag po nila masyadong isipin na baka mababa yung grade, baka naman ganito, wag po. So ang assessment po ay para ma-measure po yung ability po ng kanilang mga anak. Then, connecting with learners. How do we connect with our learners? Okay, so every morning or kung sa oras po ng yung online class or even sa group chat, dapat po kinakamusta po muna natin silang lahat. So yung mga first 5 or 10 minutes, magkamustahan po muna tayo. Kamusta na po sila? Minsan po, sila rin mismo kinakamusta kanila pagkakita sa'yo. So we have to look at our best pagka umagatin sila kasi sila yung kauna-unahan na maglilit sa atin magtataas, "Ma'am, good morning po. Ang ganda naman po ma'am ng ano, ang ganda niyo po. Ang ganda po ma'am nung ano background ninyo." 'Di ba po mas nakaka-motivate. So we have to check on them first. Then see sino ba yung bata na sa tingin natin. Let's check on them kung medyo malungkot siya ngayon, bakit wala siya ngayon. Okay, what keeps them busy, ano ba yung ginagawa nila maghapon. Okay, then kamusta ba yung kanilang pagmo-module, na-e-enjoy ba nila, ano ba yung pinahihirapan nila. Siguro po yung mga first minutes, napakaganda pong magkamustahan kayo so that you will know your learners para po malaman natin. Kasi meron din po mga bata na napakamahiyain. So siguro po kapag nakikita nila na tayo ay willing makinig sa kanila, na sinasali po natin sila sa engagement, ay mai-encourage po sila na magsalita. Then making ourselves accessible for the learners. Okay? Kung pag nakikita po natin sila, maybe through online na medyo distracted or medyo hindi nakikinig, maybe we can get their attention. Then tanungin natin sila, ano ba yung kailangan mo? May hindi ka ba naintindihan? Gusto mo ulitin ko para sa'yo? Okay? And in working with our learners, we can also help those who are specially challenged. Okay? Then give remediation from a distance. Okay? Maybe kung hindi talaga natin magagawa siya ng isahan, maybe a small group. Okay. Pero po, syempre sa division natin, hindi naman po talaga tayo nagpapahuli dyan na meron po tayo talagang remediation from a distance. Okay. And they are equipped and guided by modules also. Then lastly po, na kailangan natin mag-reflect ay sa mga students at risk. So, those who need their teacher to perform well in school. Kaya yung mga bata po kasi, meron po sa kanila talaga na yung teacher po ang gusto nila nagsasabi sa kanila. Yung teacher ang gusto nila nag-i-instruct sa kanila. And through our motivation and encouragement, sila po ay mas natututo, mas namomotivate. Kaya yung mga low motivated, nagiging highly motivated na mga bata. Alam ko po napakahirap gawin ito, pero alam ko naman po din na tayo po ay teachers. Okay, we are doing really our very best para po mag-succeed po tayo sa distance learning na ito. At syempre po, isang na rin po dito sa mga student at risk, yung mga bata po na wala pong direkta talagang tumutulong sa kanila. Maybe their both parents are working at wala pong naiiwanan sa kanila. Maybe we can ask the child kung may ate siya or may kuya. Okay, then yung iba naman po kasi talaga merong tita. Meron din siyang isang anak, so dalawa po sila. Nagsasabay po sila na para mag-answer ng module or makinig sa online classes. So maybe we could spend a little time for them. Okay, pwedeng pagkatapos ng lahat, o sige, maiwan kang muna, wag kang muna mag-out. Di mo sabihin. Kasi yung ibang bata, nahihiya lang po talaga sila. Okay, and also we have to have clear feedbacks with the children. Ano po ba yung kinahihirapan ninyo? Ano ba yung mahirap sa inyo? Ano ba yung dito ang hindi nyo maintindihan? Okay, so maybe the teacher can present more activities. Okay, magpakita pa siya, magbigay pa siya ng examples. And then we can adjust our materials and instructional based on what your students are. Okay, so yung mastery learning technique na start where the children are. Okay, kung saan po sila natin pwede simulan na doon po sila, yun ang starting point ng kanilang pagkatuto. Kasi po meron din talagang bata na medyo delay lang, pero meron po silang specific time na sila po ay nade-develop. Okay, so those are some of the important reflections or significant points from Annie sa kanyang video presentation. And of course, in addition, let us all be mindful of not adding too much stress on ourselves. Take some break and know our emotions, because when we are at our best, we will surely deliver the best for our learners. And all of these things are just about ideas. We have to make them happen. Kaysa nung una, hindi po natin maisip sa sarili natin na kaya ko ba to, mangyayari kaya ito, pwede kaya to, posible kaya to. Ako po yung isang nagpapatotoo na may mga bagay talaga na minsan nasa isip lang natin, but when we are determined and open-minded to make those things happen para po sa bayan natin at para sa mga bata, talagang magagawa po natin lahat yon. Kakayanin po natin. And with the help of the series of webinars, nandyan po ang ating mga co-teachers and school heads, ang ating mga supervisors, ang ating pong superintendent, everybody in the Department of Education, lahat naman po nagtutulong-tulong to make all these ideas happen because we are doing them pre-pandemic, during this pandemic, and I know we will get better and better even after this pandemic. So that's all for this afternoon. I hope we have so much insights na to have gained in this session. I would like to thank you for listening and participating. Okay, and again, we will have the next few hours. We will still be together. God bless us all and keep safe everyone. Happy working, happy learning po para sa bayan, para sa bata. Marami pong salamat.
Maraming salamat, Ma'am Mary Ann Macaraeg, Master Teacher ng Marikaban Elementary School. Talagang damang-dama niya ang pagiging para sa kabataang Pasayenyo. Dahil hapon na, kailangan na sigurong medyo mag-break po tayo para kahit papaano ay maipahinga natin ang ating magagandang mata. Babalik po tayo sa ganap. Magkakaroon po tayo ng break ng mga 15 minuto po para po sa nais na pumunta sa CR o may uminom, saglit, o kumain ay ito na po yung oras nang sa gayon ay makapakinig po tayo ng mahusay sa susunod na tagapanayan. Sir Eric, timer po. 15 minutes. O para hindi po tayo gabihin, ay 5 minuto na lang. Siguro magagawa po natin ang lahat ng yan. Oh. Ganito talaga pag live. Mamaya po, huwag niyo pong kalimutan na pumunta sa link ng evaluation attendance po natin sa lahat po ng mga kalahok mula sa kinder at grade 3. Maraming salamat po, Sir Eric Comia, ang aming focal person ng IT. Sir Marvin Villaperte. Kanina ay natutuhan natin kung ano ang mga dapat nating salang-alang sa ganitong bagong kalakaran natin sa pagtuturo sa ating mag-aaral. Ngayon naman ay tutunghayan natin at pakikinggan ang isa sa pinakamahusay na guro ng Timoteo Paez Elementary School. Walang iba kundi ang Master Teacher 2, Ginang Rowella B. Cadayona para sa kanyang pagbabahagi ng phonological awareness.
Hello, magandang hapon po sa lahat.
Napaka-special naman ang pagpapakilala ni ma'am. Sana maabot ko yung sinabi mo. Okay, so magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Ako po ay naatasan para sa paksang ito, ang phonological awareness. Isa po siyang napakagandang paksa, no? Okay. Ma'am Hyde, slide ko please. Okay, ang phonological awareness po ay meron po siyang dalawang layunin, no? Ito po ay to determine the importance of phonological awareness in building literacy skills, no? So mahalaga po na matukoy natin ano ba ang kahalagahan nito. Madalas kasi tingin natin napakadali lang, kaya minsan binabaliwala natin itong phonological awareness, no? Minsan din ginagawa naman natin, pero hindi naman natin alam na yun na pala yun. Ay, phonological awareness pala yun, no? Then yung isa pa pong objective natin ay to identify instructional strategies and activities that parents can provide for young learners at home. Ito naman po yung alam natin, nasabi nga po kanina ni Teacher Annie, na ang ating mga parents, sila po ang ating indispensable partner sa pag-aaral ng kanilang mga anak, no, sa pag-aaral ng ating mga estudyante, lalo na po ngayong panahon ng pandemya. Okay, next slide please. Magkaroon po muna tayo ng isang maikli lang naman na game, no? Or ang tawagin po natin itong makinig at bigkasin. Okay, so handa na po ba kayo? Okay, sige. Bibilangin po ninyo kung ilan ang mga salitang sasabihin ko sa game na ito. Ilan lang naman to. Halimbawa po, sinabi ko sa inyo kanina, magandang hapon. Ilang salita po ba yung magandang hapon? Magandang hapon. So, bali, dalawa, no? Dalawa siya salita. Isa pa po, halimbawa naman po maligayang kaarawan, Ate Rosemary. Maligayang kaarawan, Ate Rosemary. So, bali, ilang salita po yung narinig nyo? Tama, 4 na salita. Okay. So, yun po yung activity ng pagbibilang ng salita sa loob ng pangungusap. Isa pa po. Ito naman po. Ano kaya ang simulang tunog ng mais, mangga, mani? Ano po ba ang simulang tunog? Tama. Okay. So ano pa kaya yung ibang salitang nagsisimula sa Yan, may nakikita ko nagsasabi mansanas. Ano pa? Mangustin. Okay. Lahat sila nagsisimula sa At marami din tayong kilala na ang pangalan ay nagsisimula sa Andyan si Melda Bukirin, no, di ba? Si Melissa, Mary Ann, si Sir Marvin. So, yung mga pangalan nila nagsisimula sa Okay. So, anong ginagamit natin para matukoy natin yung tunog? Okay. Yan, tama. So, ito pa. Ano naman kaya ang inyong napansin sa simulang tunog ng mga salitang binanggit natin at saka mga pangalan? Yes, lahat sila ay nagsisimula sa Okay. Tama, pare-pareho ang kanilang simulang tunog. Ngayon naman, subukin naman natin pantigin ang mga salitang nabanggit natin. Halimbawa, ito, mais, mais, mais. So, ilang pantig? 2. Okay. Yung mangga, mangga. Ilang pantig? 2 din. Yung mansanas. Ilang kayang pantig yun? Mansanas. So, ilang pantig? 3. Okay. So, ngayon naman, ang ginawa natin ay pagpapantig naman, no? Una, salita. Sumunod, nagpapantig na tayo. Okay. Siyempre, kung kaya sa Filipino, kaya din yan siyempre sa English, no? Meron din tayong mga activities na ibibigay sa inyo na halimbawa para sa English. Kagaya naman ito sa English naman. Yung isang activity naman halimbawa ganito. Does rat rhyme with the word cat? Okay, yes. Okay. Does jar rhyme with the word car? Yeah. So, paano natin natuko yun? Siyempre, ito pa rin ang ating ginamit, di ba? Okay, isa pang activity sa English, yung, limbawa, say rainbow. Okay, rainbow. Okay, say it again, but don't say rain. So, ano na lang kaya sasabihin natin? Bow. Tama. Okay. Then, meron pang isa. Pagka sa alliteration naman natin, sasabihin naman natin yung, halimbawa, Peter picked a pack of pickled pepper. No? Yun naman yung mga ilang sa halimbawa din. Na part pa rin siya, syempre, ng phonological awareness. Pwede rin gawin natin yung which does not belong. Halimbawa, man, can, fan, fat. O alin kaya ang hindi kasali? Usong-uso yan ngayon, di ba? Yung isolation, no? Okay, syempre sa mga words, may mga tinatawag din tayong isolation. Okay. Ngayon naman, halimbawa, nung ginagawa natin yung mga activities, may nakikita ba kayong isinulat ko dyan or naka-flash dyan sa screen? Wala, di ba? Wala kayong nakikita mga letters na naka-flash dyan o yung activity natin, hindi natin pina-flash. Kundi yun lang slide ng activity na ginagawa natin. So, wala kayong nakita. Ano ba ang ginamit natin? Ang atin lang pandinig. So, kaya natin itong gawin, yung mga activities na to, kahit na yung mga bata natin ay hindi pa marunong bumasa? Yes, kayang-kaya. Siyempre naman, kasi makikinig lang naman muna sila. Eto sabi ng isang teacher, kaya ba yan gawin? O kaya bang magturo si nanay ng pagbasa kung hindi naman si nanay marunong bumasa? Kaya ba ni nanay ipagawa yung mga phonological awareness na activities? Kahit na hindi si nanay marunong bumasa? Yes naman. Kasi kailangan lang talaga ang pakikinig. Alam niyo po ba na si John Shaw, isa siyang reading expert, no? Siya po ay hindi marunong bumasa. Yung nanay niya hindi marunong bumasa, no? Yung nanay po ni John Shaw ay hindi marunong bumasa. Pero ang nagturo po sa kanya ng pagbasa yung kanyang anak, si John Shaw, ang reading expert. Na? Okay? So ngayon po, paano tayo makakatulong para sa ating mga magulang? Para yung mga magulang natin na ating partner, sabi nga, indispensable partner, paano natin sila matutulungan na maturuan din po nila yung kanilang mga anak. Yun po ang purpose ngayon ng ating webinar. Okay, so next slide please. Ayan po. Okay, sunod po dyan, ma'am. Yan. Andito po si Teacher Georgie, no? Si Teacher Georgie po ay siya po si Ma'am Johnny Lirenes. Mas kilala po siyang Teacher Georgie. She is a special education and literacy specialist. She has worked with a diverse group of learners, children to adults, no? So, neurotypical and neurodiverse learners. So, si Teacher Georgie po, nung nabasa ko po yung profile niya, talagang sumusuporta siya, no, para sa mga inclusive education, talagang inclusion advocates po siya. Tapos she earned both her bachelor's degree in special education and master's degree in reading education in the University of the Philippines. And now she is currently completing her PhD in history and philosophy of education, also in the same university. So welcome po natin si Teacher Georgie para sa isang video na atin pong mapapanood. Teacher, hi please. Okay, play na lang po yung video. Thank you.
Ba ang phonological awareness? So this is the ability or skill to hear. But it's not just to hear, but also to identify and manipulate sounds. And it's not just any sounds, but sounds of speech. Okay? Tunog ng mga salita. Tunog ng lengguwahe. Okay? And we develop phonological awareness actually when we learn a language. So it's necessary na meron tayo nito or meron tayong phonological awareness when we are learning new languages. So in our case, sa ating mga mag-aaral, meron tayong at least 2 languages na tinuturo. For others, 3 kasi may mother tongue. Iba yung mother tongue sa Filipino. Okay? So, importante na ma-develop ang phonological awareness across all these languages. And ano ang components, no, or what are involved in developing phonological awareness? This would mean, ayan, hearing words in spoken sentences, naririnig yung mga salita, naririnig na ng bata na kapag tinatawag siya or kapag may sinasabi, meron siya, alam niya na may ibig sabihin yung mga tunog na yon. Naririnig din yung rhymes and alliteration, so yung magkakapareho ng unang tunog, hearing syllables, and hearing individual phonemes, or yung mga tunog, no, na sa isang salita. Okay. So, ang phonological awareness actually develops in a predictable progression. Okay, so nagde-develop siya from simple to complex. Okay, pag pinag-usapan natin yung simple, ito yung nata-track ng bata, or the child is able to track words in spoken sentences. Alam niya na may mga salita doon. And for us to know kung nagagawa, natatrack niya, pwede natin gawin halimbawa, ilang salita ang meron sa happy birthday. Okay? Happy birthday. Diba? So, 2 salita. Ilang salita ang meron sa magandang umaga po. Okay. So, yan ang ibig nating sabihin na the child is able to track words in spoken sentences. Okay? Ang susunod dyan, so malaking chunk of sound, no? Ang susunod dyan, kapag palating naririnig ng bata ang mga salita, no, sounds of the language, then they begin to see na, these words, or they begin to distinguish na words can sometimes sound the same and can sometimes sound differently. And so, they begin to respond to rhymes and alliteration. So, una, matutuwa silang nakikinig sa mga rhymes, kaya hindi aksidente na talagang nagtuturo tayo ng mga nursery rhymes sa mga bata. Kasi talagang nakakatuwa pakinggan yan. But at the same time, that also helps them identify rhymes. Okay? And later, syempre, yung rhyme, isang chunk ng tunog ulit yan. These sounds, ay, isang syllable pala siya, isang pantig pala siya. At ang mga salita ay merong mga pantig. Halimbawa, kanina yung ginawa natin na ulap, so merong 2 pantig. Ang delubyo, merong 3 pantig. So, then, in this case, the child is now able to track syllables. And usually this happens age 5, no? Age 5 pataas. Okay. Yung susunod niyan would be distinguishing onset. Ito yung nagiging aware sila na halimbawa in word families like at family, so merong at, fat. At, yung at would be the rhyme, R-I-M-E-N, R-I-M-E. Okay, at yung mga unang letters, yun yung unang tunog rather. I'm trying to refrain from using the word letters. I'm trying to keep on saying sounds. So yung mga unang tunog, ayun yung mga onsets. Okay? And then the more complex will be the smaller or the smallest unit. So eto na yung mga individual phonemes in a word. Okay? So pag titingnan natin, ang simple would be those big chunks of sound. So words. Papunta sa complex, which would be individual sounds. Okay, so example pa natin. Halimbawa, sa salitang baso, ilan ang tunog na maririnig natin sa baso? Okay, B, A, S, O. So, meron tayong 4 na tunog. Okay, let's say, cat. Ilang tunog ang meron sa salitang cat? So, we have a. So, kung ang sagot ninyo ay 3, tama yon. Paano kung, let's have numbers. Let's say, number 2. Yung 2. Ilang tunog ang meron sa salitang 2? Okay. Ano ang mga sagot ninyo? 1, 2, o 3? So, tingnan natin. 2. So, ilang tunog yon? Merong 2 tunog sa salitang 2. So, kung ang sagot ninyo ay 2, tama yon. Kung ang sagot ninyo ay 3, ang alam natin dyan ay magaling kayong mag-spell. Kasi alam natin na ang spelling ng 2 ay T-W-O. Merong 3 letra. There are 3 letters in the word 2. However, ang tanong ko ay sound. Okay, we're not talking yet about letters, letter symbols. We're just dealing with sound. So yan ang kaibahan. Okay? Try pa natin. Let's say 4. Ilan ang tunog sa salitang 4? O, Okay, so merong o, 4. 3 tunog. Again, kung ang sagot nyo ay 4, ibig sabihin magaling kayong mag-spell kasi alam nyo na ang 4 ay may 4 na letra. Again, hindi yon ang pinapagawa ko sa inyo. Okay, isa pa. Ito, 8. Kasi pinapagawa natin to sa mga bata, di ba? 8. Ilan ang tunog sa salitang 8? Okay, 8. Mahaba siyang salita. Pero meron siyang 2 tunog. 8. Okay. So, that's what we mean by phonemes. At dun sa 4 and 5, yan na yung pumapasok yung tinatawag natin na phonemic awareness or the ability to hear, distinguish, identify individual sounds in a word. Okay, now bakit mahalaga ito? Mahalaga ito bago matutong na ma-develop, bago matutong magbasa at mag-spell ang mga bata. Okay, actually kailangan ito. These are crucial skills in developing reading and spelling. Kapag ang bata ay immersed in the sound of the language at alam niya na di-distinguish na yung mga tunog, later on, kapag nag-introduce na tayo ng alphabets at saka nag-introduce na tayo nagtuturo na tayo kung paano magbasa, mas madali nilang makikita at mababalikan yung mga tunog at pagsasama-samahin. Okay, we would have more activities on that later. Okay, but I want to go to the next slide. So, ito yung mga tasks, at mga skills for phonological awareness. Okay, so when we talk about phonological awareness, yan yung pula, nakita ninyo sa screen yung pula, sinasaklaw niya lahat from words. Okay, ayan. So, nakikita yung mga salita, natatrack yung mga salita to rhymes, to syllables, to word families, to phonemes. Okay, to phoneme manipulation. But before that also happens, there are also other preparatory experiences that we have to provide for our children. Kaya yan, they have to be immersed in nursery rhymes or listening activities. They have to be immersed in directional concepts. Dapat may alam sila tungkol sa left to right. Okay? Sanay silang makinig sa mga sounds in the environment, makinig sa mga tunog sa paligid at saka sa mga naririnig nilang mga salita. Mahalaga rin na nasasanay na rin sila sa gaya sa pakikinig na kikilala nila ang mga beat, no? Okay? At saka yung pag-discriminate ng mga iba't ibang mga tunog. Okay? As from big sound chunks of sound going to the smallest units of sounds, yun yung phonemic awareness. So yun yung naka-yellow. Okay? So yan, pag pinag-uusapan natin ang phonological awareness at ang phonemic awareness, kagaya ng binanggit ko kanina, we are just focused on the sound of the language. So you can do these activities even if the children are not looking at you. Okay, all they need to do is to listen. Okay, pwede siyang gawing nakapikit. Pwede siyang gawin sa madilim. Okay, so tunog lang ang kailangan. Okay, later on you will teach alphabet knowledge. Meron ng symbols, yung mga salita. Pag pinagsama na natin itong phonological awareness and phonemic awareness, yung tunog plus yung alphabet knowledge, so yan na yung magiging phonics instructions, pero hindi natin yan pag-uusapan ngayon. Hanggang phonological awareness and phonemic awareness lang tayo. Okay. So ganun lang siya. If there's one thing that I would want you to remember, it's that phonological awareness and phonemic awareness is all about sounds of the spoken words. Okay? So how do we develop phonological awareness? Okay? Ang kailangan lang talaga is for children to be immersed in the language. Okay? Kailangan we give them a lot of opportunities to listen and hear the sounds of the language. So kailangan nakakarinig sila ng mga kwentuhan, conversations. Nakakarinig sila ng mga kwento. Okay, kinukwentuhan sila, binabasahan sila ng kwento. Okay? But at the same time, just like what we did earlier, kailangan din that they are given opportunities to speak and explore the language. So nakakapagsalita din at nakakapag-practice paano ipoproduce yung mga iba't ibang tunog na ginagaya nila sa atin. Okay? And yung isa na mahalaga rin is it's important that we give them opportunities to think about the language. So pinag-iisipan nila na, ang isang lengguwahe ay may mga salita. Kaya pinapabilang natin ilang salita ang sinabi ko sa sentence na ito. Na ang lengguwahe pala ay may magkakatunog at di magkakatunog. So merong rhymes, alliterations. Okay, alin ang magkakasama kasi magkakatunog sila? Alin ang magkakasama kasi pareho ang unang tunog or pareho ang huling tunog? Okay? So we use importante that they also think about the language. Okay. And what are activities that we can provide for our children so that we are sure to develop phonological awareness and phonemic awareness. Okay, so ito. So ang central na picture dyan, di ba, it's all about pakikinig at pagbibigkas. Okay? So medyo nag-color coding ako. Ang kulay yellow dyan, yan yung mga, start tayo sa green. Yung mga green, yan yung mga pwedeng gawin araw-araw kahit sa bahay at walang kailangang gamit or materials masyado. Kasi conversation. So kahit sino, kahit saan, di ba? Nagkukwentuhan tayo sa bahay. Yung mga magulang, kinakausap yung mga bata. Yung mga magkakapamilya, nagkukwentuhan sila. So importante that children are immersed in this, that they hear conversations, that they are part of conversations. Bahagi sila ng kwentuhan. Okay? At sa pagkukwentuhan, kung minsan, pwede tayong maglaro, no? Word play. So like we can play yung mga ano ang magkakatunog, okay? Word and sound games, no? So pwedeng paglaruan. Okay. May nakikita akong gamit na nagsisimula sa tunog ng B. Okay. Laruan ito na paborito ko. Okay, so ano kaya yun? Bola. Okay, mga ganyan. Or maaaring hawakan ang lahat ng mga bagay na makikita mong nagsisimula sa tunog na So, mesa, mansanas, ano pa, mangkok. So, kung ano man yon. So, these are activities na pwedeng gawin talaga sa bahay at madaling ituro sa mga magulang kung paano gawin. At walang kailangang mga gamit. Okay? Punta naman tayo sa mga yellow. So, again, pagtuturo ng mga rhymes, songs, poems, pagkukwento, story read aloud. So ito, medyo may kailangan tayong gamit, may kailangan tayong ibigay ng mga materyales sa mga magulang or maybe access no for lyrics to a song or access to videos or audio recording of songs, rhymes, poems, and stories. Okay. Maari din tayong magbigay ng mga activities. So instead of totoo na hinahawakan yung mga gamit bagay-bagay, maaari tayong mag-provide ng mga picture sorts. Okay? So ito yung may mga pictures o pagsamasamahin natin ang lahat ng mga pictures na nagsisimula sa tunog na okay? Or maaring so beginning yun. Or maaring mga salita na ang ending naman na tunog ay then. So like bakal. Okay? Ano pa? Kawal. Okay? So picture sort pa rin siya. Okay? Yung kulay lila, okay? Ito yung mas alam natin to as teachers, no? Na so pwede tayong tuturuan natin yung mga batang mag-create ng rhyme. So halimbawa, okay, cat, mat. Ano pa ang nagre-rhyme sa cat and mat? So magbibigay yung mga salita, ay ng mga bata ng mga iba pang salita. Or baso, braso, nito would be, okay, pakinggan ang tunog. A, a, pag okay, ano naman ang ibig nating sabihin kapag deleting? So, we delete from the word level to syllable level and to phoneme level. So, kagaya kanina, ang ginawa natin, meron tayong say cowboy. Now, say it again, but don't say boy. Cow. Okay, so dinelete natin yung last word. So, pwede naman, baliktad, say steamboat. Now, say it again, but don't say steam. Boat, ang sagot. So, ang dinelete natin yung unang salita. Sa cucumber, yun naman yung say cucumber. Now, say it again, but don't say Q. So, we remove one syllable. So, the answer is cumber. Pwede rin sa likod naman, halimbawa, say member. Now, say it again, but don't say bird. Mem ang sagot. Okay, that's deleting. For phoneme, mga halimbawa dyan would be say coat. coat. Okay? Now say it again, but don't say k. So ang sagot ay oat. Say game. Game. Now say it again, but don't say gay. Okay? Pwede rin may blends. Say fork. Fork. Now say it again, but don't say k. For. Okay? Pwedeng sa gitna naman tayo magtanggal. Say smack. Now say it again, but don't say sack. Okay? Those are phoneme deletion activities. Okay? Last, yung substitution. So say fan. Fan. Now say it again, but this time, instead of use So man. Okay? So nagsasubstitute tayo ng mga tunog. Okay? So itong dalawa, kaya natin, alam natin to as teachers. So ito yung kailangan mag-invest kayo ng konti para maituro sa mga magulang kung paano siya gawin. Or you really have to design a learning activity that the parents or home learning partners can do at home na madali nilang sundan na ang ginagawa ay ito pala. Kasi these are the things na maaring yung mga magulang hindi nila to kayang gawin at maisip on their own. You really have to provide this. Pero yung mga rhymes, actually sila may alam sila. Kanta, kahit rap, may rhyme. May rhyme yan. So alam yan ng mga magulang, madali yan. But itong namang kulay lila, yan yung mga challenging siguro at hindi yan familiar for them. So you really have to invest on those. Okay, so paano ngayon ninyo maituturo no, sa mga magulang ito. Okay, so basically yan. And then, lahat yan, pwedeng gawin sa bahay. And if there's one thing that I want you to remember also, because this is all about sounds, then this will not involve paper and pencil. Okay, this will not involve looking at letters or reading words. Okay? Even for parents, ito yung kakayanin nila kahit hindi sila marunong magbasa rin. Okay? Kasi kung minsan meron naman tayong mga magulang na hindi mataas ang pinag-aralan. So sila mismo hindi marunong magbasa at magsulat. Hindi sila marunong mag-spell. Pero kaya nilang magsalita, kaya nilang makipagkwentuhan sa kanilang mga anak, kaya nilang magkwento ng mga kwentong bayan sa kanilang mga anak, kaya nilang makinig sa radyo, manood sa video or sa TV na pwedeng siyang experience para sa mga bata in developing phonological awareness. Okay. So, kung meron tayong kailangang tandaan tungkol sa phonological awareness, ito yon. No, that phonological awareness is the ability to hear, identify, and manipulate sounds of speech from simple to complex. And when it's already complex, so individual speech sounds, phonemic awareness naman yon. Okay, and these skills are very important in learning how to read and spell words. Kaya importante na talagang babad ang mga bata sa mga activities that develop phonological awareness and phonemic awareness bago sila turuang magbasa at mag-spell. Okay? And the good news there is, this can be developed well in school and at home. Okay? By engaging our learners in conversations, in playing with sounds and word games, in singing songs, reciting rhymes and poems, listening to stories read aloud. Okay, so yun lang ang kailangan. We don't need to provide worksheets. Kapag nag-worksheet na, hindi na phonological awareness at phonemic awareness ang tina-target. Iba na yon. Okay? So we don't have to provide worksheets. What we need to provide, however, would be uh, copies of songs, maybe access to audio and video materials that parents can use, okay? Or teaching them how to play the games and how to use pictures, okay? Dahil ito ay hindi nag-i-involve ng reading or writing of letters and words. Kaya madali siya. And akala natin dahil madali siya, pwede siyang laktawan at proceed na tayo kaagad sa pagtuturo ng mga letters and sounds at paano basahin. Okay? Hindi. Kailangan magbabad tayo dyan kasi pag nagbabad tayo dyan, mas madali, magiging madali ang pagtuturo ng pagbabasa. Okay? So yan. Meron din kaming ibibigay na offline task pala. Okay? So mamaya kung may tanong kayo, pero gusto ko lang tapusin ito. Magbibigay kami, kagaya ng binanggit ni Miss Annie kanina, na merong kaming ibibigay na mga checklist. So, yung phonological awareness, meron ding checklist ayon from kinder to grade 3. Pero kung mapapansin ninyo, paunti ng paunti, kasi cumulative yan. So, dapat pag grade 3, nagagawa niya yung lahat. Okay? So, ang ipapagawa sa inyo by looking at the checklist, referring to the checklist, come up with at least 3 phonological awareness activities. Pero may 3 criteria. This has to be suitable for your grade level. This can be easily taught to your parents or home learning partners. Kasi nga, kanina napag-usapan na pwedeng may mga bata na wala silang mga magulang. So, iba ang maaring kasama nila. And the third criteria would be, hindi siya masyadong gumagamit ng mga materials. If ever man gagamit ng materials, these would be materials that are commonly found in any household. Halimbawa, yung mga gamit, tasa, baso, plato, yun, yung mga ganon. Yun lang. Okay? So, dyan nagtatapos ang aking presentation.
All right, so that was the presentation of Teacher Joji. So thank you so much, Ma'am Kadayona, for sharing with us this topic of Teacher Joji about phonological awareness. So it was mentioned in the video presentation, to develop phonological awareness, so we can do a series of activities sa bata, just like playing sounds, word games, and singing songs. All right, okay. So, meron pang may PowerPoint presentation si Ma'am Kadayona. Okay, for a while. So, let's see. Okay, so that topic was shared to us by Ma'am Rowella Kadayona. Ayan, okay. So, let us have once again Ma'am Kadayona for this PowerPoint presentation.
Okay, thank you Ma'am Karen. So ito po yung sinasabi nating isinama rin natin yung talk ni Ma'am Joji. Ito pong phonological awareness at saka phonemic awareness. Ano po ba yon? Sabi gano'n, di ba? Doon po sa isang, kasi may mga nagtatanong, ano ba ang difference ng phonological awareness at saka phonemic awareness? So yung phonological awareness, siya po yung pinakapayong, no? Then yung mga activities na nandun, kagaya po yung activities natin kanina, yung words and sentences, syllables, no? Pagbibigay ng syllables, onset and rhymes, rhythm, alliterations, no? Papasok po siya, pag medyo pahirap na ng pahirap, papasok na po doon si phonemic awareness. At doon na po pumapasok yung mga activities naman under phonemic awareness na nandun na si isolation. Papasok din po dyan yung manipulation, yung blending, segmenting, addition, deletion, at saka yung substitution. So yung blending at saka segmenting po, may mga samples po tayo dyan na mamaya ipapakita natin after po ng slide na to. Yung po ay dalawang magkaiba, magka-opposite po yan, si blending at saka segmenting. So, dapat po nating tandaan that phonological awareness is the general appreciation of how language can be divided into two or into its components. So, for example, we speak in sentences. So, sentences can be broken down into words, words into syllables, and then onset and rhymes and so on. Okay, next po, ma'am. Next, please. Okay, ayan po yung sample natin ng blending. Sabi nga, you would say the individual sounds and students blend them together to make a word. For example, biniblend po natin yan. Then saka natin sasabihin na sun. Ganyan po, di ba, magbasa yung mga bata natin, lalo na yung mga kinder natin. So pagka segmenting naman po, siya po yung opposite. No? Siya naman po ay sasabihin na natin po yung word, no, sa bata. Tell me the sounds in the word sun. So saka lang naman siya isi-segment ni bata. Okay, so yun po yung segmenting. Then manipulating, you say the word, for example, say the word sun. Then student repeats, sabi niya, sun. Then you say now, say the word sun. Then pag nasabi na po ng bata yun, sasabi niya, okay, change the sound to. So, yun na po yung pagpapalit, no? Minamanipulate na po natin yung word. So, what's the new word? Fun. O, pagka pinalitan naman po yung ng r, magiging run. So, ganun po yun. Okay. Next po, ma'am. So, ito po ay, sabi nga natin, phonemic awareness, no? Phonological awareness, pinaka-foundation po. So, syempre po, meron siya talaga. Sinisimulan po siya sa kinder hanggang makarating po ng grade 3. So, ito po yung mga examples ng para sa mga kinder na activities. Meron po yan silang checklist, no? Ipapakita po namin sa inyo later. So, halimbawa po sa mga kinder na activities, words and sentences, rhymes, kaya po lagi sila, mga kinder teachers natin, lagi po talaga silang may mga rhymes, no? Hindi lang po yan pampaalis ng inip ng bata, kundi talagang sa pagpapatugtog po natin ng rhymes, no, ay marami pong natututunan ng bata. Okay? Next po, please. Ayan. So, ito po yung CG natin from grades 1 to grade 3. Kinuha ko lang po muna yung CG para po makita natin na ang phonological awareness po ay nasa CG po siya natin, no? Yung po yung tinatawag nating kamalayang phonolohiya. Yan. So, okay, next ma'am, para po makita na nila maildi. Okay. So, yan pong kamalayang phonolohiya, ay ito po yung ilan lang sa mga activities na nakita natin. Hinango po to, galing po to sa CG, nilagay sa MELCS, no? MELCS po ginagamit natin kasi pinili lang po talaga yung mga most essential learning competencies. So, ito po yung ilan sa mga para sa grade 1 po. Halimbawa po, yung nabibigkas ng wasto ang tunog ng bawat letra ng alpabetong Filipino. Isa pa po dyan, yung nabibilang ang salita sa isang pangungusap. No? Napapantig ang mga salita. Nabibilang ang pantig sa isang salita. Yan po ay ilan sa mga activities na ginagawa ng grade 1 teachers. Nagsisimula po yan pagdating ng second quarter. Kasi yung first quarter po, wala po silang Filipino. Okay, next please. Ito naman po yung kamalayang phonolohiya sa ikalawang baitang. Ito po yung ilan sa mga learning competencies nila. Nakapagpapalit at nakapagdaragdag ng mga tunog upang makabuo ng bagong salita. Nakikilala ang mga tunog na bumubuo sa pantig ng mga salita. No? So, yan po ay ilan sa kanilang mga ginagawa, kasama po yan sa modules nila. Kaya nakapagpapalit at nakapagdaragdag ng mga tunog upang makabuo ng bagong salita. Halimbawa, nagpapalit tayo ay bata, palitan yung dulong tunog na a, papalitan ng o, magiging bato. So, nag-iiba-iba po, no? Then, yung napapalitan at nadaragdagan ng mga tunog upang makabuo ng bagong salita. Halimbawa po ay ani. Paano po siya? Dadagdagan po natin siya sa dulo ng magiging anim. Kung dadagdagan naman po natin siya sa may unahan naman ng, yung anim, dagdagan natin sa unahan na magiging tanim. So yun po yung ilan sa mga activities na ginagawa natin para sa grade 2. Ito naman po para sa grade 3. Ma'am, next please. Okay, ayan naman po yung kanilang mga kamalayang phonology na objectives. Natutukoy ang mga salitang magkakatugma, no? So kadalasan ginagamit natin ito halimbawa po sa awiting Bahay Kubo. Kahit na grade 3 yan, masaya pa rin po silang nakikinig at umaawit ng mga awiting bayan, no? Kagaya Bahay Kubo, marami po kasi doon magkakatugmang salita, no? Okay, sibuyas, ano po ba yung kasing tunog niya? Bataw, ano po ba yung kasing tunog niya? So marami po. Nahahati ng pabigkas ang isang salita ayon sa pantig. Ayan, maganda rin po activity yan. Then, nakapagpapalit at nakapagdaragdag ng mga tunog upang makabuo ng bagong salita. Nagsasama-sama ang mga katinig, patinig upang makabuo ng salitang cluster. So, yan pong ilan sa mga competencies ng pang-grade 3. So, napapansin niyo po ba na pabigat ng pabigat? Sabi nga po natin, ang K-12 ay spiral. So, pabigat po ng pabigat, pero hanggang grade 3 lang po yung kamalayang phonology. Wala na po siya sa grade 4. No? Okay, next po. Siyempre po, kailangan, sabi nga, dahil ang phonological awareness ang pinaka dapat matibay ang pundasyon. Pero syempre kailangan alam din natin as teachers, alam po dapat natin ano ba yung mga signs kasi baka mamaya sige lang tayo ng turo tapos hindi natin napapansin yung mga bata, meron palang mga batang ganito. Ito po yung ilan sa mga signs, no, na ang mga bata natin ay nag-struggle with phonological awareness. So kids develop their skills at different rates, no? Alam po natin 'yan. Still, there are some flags that could suggest kids are having trouble and may need more support. For example po sa mga preschoolers po ito. So, trouble learning nursery rhymes, no? Napapansin niyo ba yung bata, hindi siya interesado doon at nahihirapan siyang gayahin yung mga rhymes, no? Mga nursery rhymes, no? Tapos, not enjoying listening to rhyming stories. Then, meron ding trouble counting out syllables in words. Ayan. Then difficulty noticing sound repetition or alliteration, no? Hindi niya napapansin alin ba dito yung magkakapareho, alin ba dito yung hindi niya maiulit. Kung may sinabi si teacher, hindi niya maulit, or may sinabi si nanay, hindi niya maulit. So yun po yung ilang mga signs. Ngayon naman po, yung next po para naman po sa grades 1 to 3. Ma'am, please. So in grade school naman po, ito naman po yung ating mapapansin, no? Kids might have in trouble, no? Sabi nga, identifying the first sound they hear in words. Meron pa po ba tayong mga batang ganyan sa grade 3? Or sa ating bata, sa mga grades 1 to 3? Pansinin po natin yan. Blending individual sounds into words, no? Then coming up with rhyming words in wordplay. Confusing similar sounding words like specific and pacific. Medyo mabigat yung ginamit niya, pang grade 3 na po kasi yun. So kids who have bigger challenges with phonological awareness can also struggle with other aspects of language. Tandaan po natin yun, no? Kaya like the ability to understand questions and directions. Then they might have trouble learning and remembering new words. So kids can also have trouble expressing themselves clearly. So yun pong ilan sa mga dapat nating bantayan sa ating mga grade school from grade 1 to grade 3. Next po, ma'am. So sabi nga, the most common source of reading difficulties is phonemic awareness, no? Ang anak ni phonological awareness. Okay, so phonological and phonemic awareness is the foundation, no? Teka, parang gumalaw. Is the foundation upon which all the other layers of literacy are built. And unless it is solid, the other layers will, with most difficulty, definitely suffer, and the student will struggle to read. Okay, so para po sa last na slide, ito po. Kasi hindi ko masyado pong makita. Okay. Ayan. So, ito po. Sabi, kaya nga po tayo may pa-seminar ngayon, no, ng webinar ang English and Filipino grupo natin. Kasi we need to ensure all teachers, no? All teachers, kaya po lahat ng teachers from kinder to grade 3 kasali po, no? Pati po mga remedial teachers. We need to ensure all teachers know about the importance of phonological awareness and how to teach it to their students. So many students can make great gains in their reading with improved phonological awareness. So maraming salamat po. Okay. Yes, Ma'am Karen.
Congratulations, Ma'am Rowella Cadayona. Napakahusay talaga. O diba, totoong-totoo ang sinabi ko na isa ka sa pinakamahusay na guro ng SBO Pasay. Talagang kitang-kita ang lawak ng iyong karanasan sa pagtuturo dahil sa pagkakam ko, ang karanasan ni Ma'am Cadayona ay nagmula sa kinder hanggang sa grade 3. Kaya ang lahat ng kanya mga ibinahagi ay talagang naranasan niya sa haba ng kanyang pagtuturo, hindi lamang sa natutuhan niya kay Ma'am Reynes. Maraming salamat, Ma'am Cadayona. Palakpakan po natin si Ma'am Cadayona ng virtual clapping. Maraming salamat po. Mula sa pagkatuto natin sa kung paano kahalaga na matutuhan ng mag-aaral, gayon din ng mga magulang, ang mga tunog sa kabila ng walang papel at ballpen, ay tunghayan naman natin ang pagbabahagi ng isa rin sa mahusay na guro ng Marcelo Elementary School, walang iba kundi si Gina Melisa Opeña, Master 2, Teacher 2 ng Marcelo Elementary School para sa kanyang pagbabahagi ng vocabulary development. Ma'am Melisa Opeña.
Yes po. Ayun. Magandang hapon po sa lahat and congratulations kasi po this is the last session of today's webinar. Kaya I do hope that we are all still alive, alert, sabi nga ng kanta, enthusiastic. No po, nawa na nandito tayo, nakafocus pa rin tayo. Dahil alam ko naman po na lahat tayo ay nagtuturo sa umaga at medyo pagod na. Pero dahil nga sa pangangailangan ng mga bata, still, andito tayo. We are doing everything for the children. Kaya po, sa hapong ito, ang topic po natin is about vocabulary development. Opo, ito po ay one of the essentials katulad po ng phonological awareness kanina. Ito rin po ay essential din po sa pagkatuto ng mga bata sa pagbasa. At may bahagi ko lamang po yung aking karanasan kasi ako po ay 28 years in the service na po sa public school. At ito po talaga public school na po ako since po na ako ay maging teacher. At ang first assignment ko as a teacher, na-assign kaagad ako sa grade 1. So, wala akong kamalayan na ganun pala kabigat ng aking gampanin. Basta tinanggap ko, sabi ko, sige po, grade 1 po ako. At ang maganda pa po nito, nailagay po ako sa last section. Yan. So, imagine niyo kapag ikaw ay last section. So, kaway-kaway po sa mga grade 1 teachers na talagang andun sa last section kasi talagang saludo po ako sa inyo kasi talagang ito po yung napakahirap na turuan pero naitatawid talaga ng magagaling na teachers ng Pasay. So, yun po. At ang ano pa doon, sabi bigla sa akin ng grade leader namin, siguro mga second quarter na, sabi niya, ma'am, pababasahin po ang mga yan ng ating master teacher. And pag yan ay napabasa doon, magkakaroon ng recommendation na kung yan bata ay passed or failed. No? And hindi pa doon nagtatapos, pati yung principal, nagra-random at kinukuha yung mga critical na kung papasa o hindi. At talagang pinababasa for another recommendation. Kaya doon ko po nakita talaga kung gaano kahalaga na mapabasa ang mga bata. At dito po matutunghayan natin mamaya sa 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 atin pong video mamaya po makikita natin kung paano tayo matutulungan na para ma-expound yung vocabulary development ng mga bata. Kasi pangarap po natin yan, no, na once na dumating ang mga bata o itong mga estudyante natin sa ating mga kamay kada taon, di ba, wala tayong ibang hangarin, mga guro, kundi yung mahubog sila sa tamang pag-uugali, matuto silang magbasa, magbilang, magsulat. Yun po yung hangarin natin. And as reading teachers, kaya po tayo nandito kasi yun talaga ang gusto nating end goal na talagang mapabasa natin ang mga bata and at the same time magkaroon ng reading comprehension. And ito nga po, kailangan ng mga bata na ma-expand ang kanilang vocabulary. So, napakahalaga po na yung bata sa ating kamay ay matuto ng maraming mga vocabulary words. At alam natin, this is essential to them, no? Kasi kung mapapansin ng isang kinder teacher na kapag nakita niya yung bata on the first day or the first week or first month na sa pangangalaga niya, pag nakita niya si batang ito, maraming baon, terminology po na maraming baon na mga salita, we can rightly foretell na itong bata to may future, madali itong magbasa. So, ganun po kahalaga ang vocabulary development. Kaya po, ngayon, mapalad po tayo dahil po atin pong matutunghayan ngayon ang video po ni Teacher Jose Cecilio D. Pascual. Basahin ko po muna ang kanyang qualification. Sabi po dito, Teacher JC is the director and a reading specialist of Readability Center, a center that mainly provides reading remediation to individuals with reading difficulties. He focuses on assessment and professional teacher development. He is also the center director of Jesuit Child Development Center, a school in San Fernando, Pampanga that helps children with special needs. So talagang makakatulong po siya sa atin. He is currently a consultant for Children International in support of their reading program. He just finished writing a grade 1 math workbook for Don Bosco Press. And also, Teacher JC teach reading and Filipino at the Ateneo Manila Grade School. He completed the academic courses for Master of Arts in Reading Education at the University of the Philippines, Diliman. At yung kanyang pong lecture highlights how a child acquires words and understand them to understand the world around them. This includes a discussion of vocabulary development among K-3 children and will present some tips on how to enhance vocabulary. The topics to be discussed include the stages of vocabulary development and the strategies that support vocabulary development at home. Kasi ngayon po ay pandemic, so kailangan po natin yon na malaman natin na paano na ma-expand yung kanilang mga vocabulary. Kaya po, sa oras na ito, let us meditate the video at magnilay-nilay po tayo kung ito nga po ay talagang nagagawa na ba natin o hindi pa natin nagagawa na makakatulong para sa atin. Thank you po.
Hindi po madali pala na gawin iyon. Lalo na kung ito ay gagawin ng mga magulang. So kailangan siguro isa yun sa mga pwedeng ituro sa kanila. Okay? Balikan natin yung mga katanungan sa ating Q&A mamaya pagkatapos ng ating maikling diskusyon sa vocabulary development. So we will revisit why is vocabulary important for comprehension, how vocabulary develops, and how do we expand vocabulary at home. As defined, vocabulary is the knowledge of words and their meanings, both oral and print representations. So when we talk about vocab, it does not only mean those things that we see on print. Naiintindihan mo ba yung salitang ito? Naiintindihan mo ba ito? Naiintindihan mo ba ito? So ganun tayo ng ganun minsan sa mga estudyante. It also involves meanings that comes out, the words that would come out of their mouths when they do communication. All right. It is also the knowledge of a word that the knowledge of a word that only implies definition, but it also implies how the word fits into the world. So again, it should have a implication into their everyday lives. So kung tutuusin, kunyari nagtuturo tayo ng mga bagong salita, huwag na natin i-prioritize yung mga salita na masyadong malalim o masyadong hindi naman kailangan, 'di ba? So kung gagawin natin direct yung instruction o yung sasadyain natin yung pagpapakilala ng mga salita, siguraduhin po natin na gagamitin nila itong mga salitang ito sa kanilang pang-araw-araw na pamumuhay, sa kanilang pang-araw-araw na pag-aaral, hindi yung tipong trivial, yung ating pipiliin mga salita para ituro sa kanila o ipakilala sa kanila. Kasi sayang lang na ituro natin iyon kung hindi naman siya gagawin. So, just like oral language, there is expressive vocabulary and receptive vocabulary. So ito ulit, dahil sinabi ko, kailangan natin bantayan yung mga salitang hindi lamang yung lumalabas sa kanilang bibig, kailangan natin bantayan din kung ano yung mga salita na naiintindihan nila kapag pinakausap sila. All right? So when they fail to understand you using oral inputs, that means you catch on this. That means you have to take note of these words. Ano yung ginamit ng mga salita? ibig sabihin baka hindi niya kilala, no? So, yun yung din pwede nating bantayan. Alright? Okay, so when we teach vocabulary, no, it's more of expanding, no, introducing new words. Ngayon, gusto ko isipin niyo, ngayon nagtuturo tayo, no, alam natin na ginagamit natin ang vocab development kapag nasa pre-reading yan, di ba? Bago natin ituro ang isang o talakayin ng isang kwento, meron tayong mga salitang pag-uusapan para maalis, no, yung mga balakid. So, kasama to sa mga balakid. Maliban doon, ano pa yung mga instances na nagtuturo tayo ng vocab? So siguro balikan natin yung ating classroom experiences. Tapos maganda rin paano natin siya gagawin ngayon na dito tayo ngayon sa distance mode, no? Tapos pwede natin isipin yung mga pinababasa ba natin sa kanila, lahat ba ng salita doon ay nauunawaan nila? Kung hindi, tinuturo ba natin yung mga salita na lumalabas sa kanilang modules, lumalabas sa kanilang textbooks? No? Pinag-uusapan ba natin muna ito bago nila basahin? So, these are the things that we could consider when we develop vocabulary. Okay? So, malamang kadalasan hindi natin nagagawa ito dahil wala sa budget, kulang sa oras, 'di ba? Hindi siya kasama doon sa ating plano. So, meron tayong mga limitasyon, no? Kaya hindi natin bibigyan pansin ang pagpapalawak ng bokabularyo. So, meron kasing pagpasok nila sa eskwelahan, itong mga batang ito, may oral language na silang baon. Ibig sabihin, ito yung ginagamit nila sa kanilang bahay, na ito yung language na comfortable sila sa pang-araw-araw. Ngayon, regardless of language, dadagdag ang academic language o yung academic vocabulary. So ito yung mga salita, pag sinabi academic vocabulary, ito yung mga salitang ginagamit po nila sa kanilang ginagamit po natin sa pag-aaral. So, na-introduce dyan yung mga subtrahend, madami ito sa mga content area subjects. So, these new words, add to the list of words that they already know. So, we have to teach these new words to them, this academic vocabulary. Because if they get to read these words into the mode, especially now, on distance mode, baka kung tanungin nung bata doon sa nanay kung ano yon, baka wala naman siguro pa masyado sa 2 to 3, but if you have very important words that's used in your subject areas, then you have to explain it to them, lalo na kunyari yung mga math, science, mga content areas, social studies, kailangan i-explain, kung na ito yung ibig sabihin po nito. Okay? So instruction is incidental through indirect exposure to word and incidental through explicit instruction. So yung mga incidental, kadalasan nangyayari ito kapag nagdi-discuss ng kwento. Okay? So, marami kasing pwedeng pag-usapan, lalo na sa post-reading. During the post-reading part, here, you don't only develop comprehension, but you also target on developing new concepts, new words, new things that they would want to know around them. And this is the opportunity for you to make connections. Ibig sabihin, kunyari, pinag-usapan natin yung trend kanina, pag-usapan natin kung ano pa ba yung ibang mga pwedeng sakyan, pagpupunta sa naghahabal-habal o nag-aangkas o ganyan, pang-isahan lang yon. So, nagka-tricycle ngayon dahil may pandemya, isa rin din lang yung pwedeng sumakay. No, so, itong mga concepts na to, no, nakikilala nila at lumalaki yung kanilang pag-unawa sa sasakyan, tsaka sa kanilang kapaligiran. Okay? So, yung incidental or yung explicit instruction, ito yung pagpapakilala ng mga salita at konsepto na, of course, sinadya natin. Halimbawa, ito ay isang konsepto na galing sa history. Merong, kunyari, pinag-usapan ang EDSA Revolution. Siguro, madami sa atin ay pinanganak na ng 1986. Siguro, mga fresh grads siguro hindi pa, no? Ay yung mga batang teacher pa hindi pa. So yung mga konsepto na alam natin na hindi nila naranasan o hindi na kilala, no, ng mga bata, maaari natin ipakilala sa kanila sa pamamagitan ng personal stories, no, sa pamamagitan ng mga larawan, no, and so on. No, so ito yung mga kinakailangan gawin natin, no, para lumaki yung kanilang kaalaman sa mga salita at konsepto. Okay. Incidental also involves terms in the content areas, like I've said, expressions of figurative language, yung mga dramatic expressions, no? Kaya kung bakit halimbawa sa kindergarten, aray ko po, ganon. Yun yung expression. Kailangan i-explain natin. Kailan nila sinasabing aray ko po? Hindi nila yung sasabihin kapag sila ay natutuwa. Parang ganyan. So, kailangan natin i-explain. Sinasabi ang aray ko po kapag ikaw ay nasaktan. Alright? Tapos, mga iba pang mga karanasan katulad ng pag-angalaga ng isang hayop. Halimbawa, pag-aalaga ng hamster. Kunyari, hindi naman sikat. Wala na yatang nag-aalaga ng hamster ngayon. Kunyari, may kwento tungkol sa pangalaga ng hayop, ikwento mo yung iyong karanasan sa pangangalaga ng isang hayop na hindi kilala, no? Kasi kadalasan ang hayop na inaalagaan ay aso o pusa. Okay? So yon. So aside from that, it also includes a wide range of reading materials to expand word knowledge. So we have to be very selective in choosing what we ask our students to read. Hindi lang tayo magpabasa lang ng pabasa. It should be of good quality. The language is there. It's appropriate for the grade level of their grade level, no? Maganda yung yung tema, yung pagkakasulat, and all of that, no? So, maging selective po tayo, no, sa mga ipababasa sa mga bata. So, unlock words that aid comprehension of assigned text. Ito na po yung binanggit natin kanina. Teach strategies in getting word meaning. This is that typical, no, for the early grades because we just introduce words and concepts. Kapag meron ng mga halimbawa higher grade levels, doon ka lang masyadong kunyari teaching them to get word meaning through context clues, mga ganyan, no? Or through word parts, or through synonyms and antonyms, no? Yung mga ganyan, no? So, for the higher grade levels. But of course, for example, synonym yung antonyms, pwede na yan sa early grades para hindi lang puro happy at sad, good, bad, yun lang yung alam nilang gamiting mga salita. Okay? Provide opportunities for them to use these words and become part of their oral language. So, paulit-ulit po natin yung sasabihin, no? So, when we build vocabulary in our language, we use words that they have already learned, no, when talking to them. So, we always make use of their background knowledge, of the words that they already know. As teachers, no, we should have that kind of kaya kailangan natin sila pakinggan ganun yung ganun yung pagpapalawak ng vocabulary. Dapat manggagaling ka doon sa mga salitang alam nila, tapos you build on them. Okay? So if there's need to pre-teach words, let's talk about these words that especially words that don't have strong context, no? Context clues in the text, so that they can access what they know about the word, and then words build on one another. Okay. Let's help our students learn expressions, no, or figurative language. So for younger children, for K to 3, we are expecting them to learn expressions, no? Especially masyadong madaming makita natin sa curriculum mga polite expressions, no? So kailangan natin siyang explicitly na ituro. Building vocabulary knowledge also involves, no, activities that would categorize words. So yung kunyari mga pinagagawa natin, put the words that are all colors, put the fruits together, put the shapes together, no? So ito ay also activity to build vocabulary. Ako ito yung personal favorite ko yan na activity sa mga bata. So hindi lang siya getting the word meaning, no? But making connections. I think that's a more powerful strategy in teaching vocabulary. You know, when they make connections, itong salitang ito may kinalaman to dito. At kung ma-explain nila yung bakit may connection na ganon, mas maganda na pag-unawa yun kesa sa nabibigay niya yung dictionary meaning ng salita, no? So, hindi siya ganun dapat ka-mechanical. See, ang language, ang vocabulary knowledge, dapat ganung klaseng nag-iisip yung bata. Ay, pula kasi, galit siya, ganyan. So, may mga ganung klaseng connections dapat. Alright? Avoid teaching one word. Like I've said, let's show relationship of words, especially when we talk about synonyms, antonyms, and your affixes, no? Okay. Let me just share you one diagram here. I'm not really sure, paki-zoom in na lang kung maliit siya. So ito yung isang pwede nating batayan kapag nag-i-introduce tayo ng mga salita sa kanila, no? So ito yung Dale's Cone of Experience. Actually, ito ay nakabatay sa kung paano daw tayo natututo ng mga bagong bagay. So, hindi na-retain, no, yung pag-unawa o pag-unawa sa isang bagay kung ito ay binigay lang ng pasalita or verbal lang yung pag-introduce niya. Sa kabilang banda, mas nagiging o mas nananaig o mas nananatili ang pag-unawa kapag ito ay direct or purposeful, no, o rinesenta. Kaya kung tayo ay nagpapakilala ng isang konsepto, isang bagay, kung gusto natin na manatili, no, sa pag-unawa ng bata o manatili sa kanyang at least sa kanyang working memory, no, kinakailangan gamitan ng 5 senses. May experience niya, no? Pahawak, makita, mahawak, marinig, malasahan, at ano pa yung isa? Basta yun, no? Yung 5 senses. Kapag daw nagkaroon, na-experience niya ito, no? Yung isang konsepto o yung bagay o yung salita na pinakikilala natin, mas maaalala ng bata yung salitang ito. Alright? So these are offline na pwede natin, ito na yung parang homework. So, yeah. So when we talk about, I will be also asking, no, the teacher, you to prepare, I think, activities, no, that will be supporting or that would develop oral language and vocabulary, no? So we'll just tatlo lang siguro. Reminder, it should be suitable to your grade level. can be easily taught to parents or home learning partners. It will require minimal material or materials that are commonly found in any household. So, but like I've said, these are oral tasks, no? Especially for oral language. No? So much, there's nothing much to prepare, but you have to make sure that the activity should be, kasi ano siya eh, directions, no? Malinaw yung directions na ipagagawa, no? Sa mga magulang o kung sino man yung nasa bahay as far as oral language is concerned, na kung ito ay fun, vocabulary, make sure that you are introducing words that are expected, no, for your learners na matutunan, no, sa kanilang pang-araw-araw na pag-aaral. Okay? All right. So, yeah, 10:51. We have 9 minutes or so for questions.
Yun po. So, yan. So, makikita po natin na narinig po ba natin yung mga tips po ni Teacher JC about po sa pag-expand po ng vocabulary ng mga bata. So, marami po siya sa ating binigay na mga tips at napansin po natin dito ano po, sa atin pong since day 1 po ng school year 2020-21, lagi po nating naririnig yung MELCs or most essential learning competencies. And alam po natin na indispensable po ito sa teaching learning process ng mga bata. No po? So, kailangan po, lalo na ngayon na pandemic time. At isa po doon sa binibuild na skill is the vocabulary development. So, medyo ang na-browse ko lang po yung mga competencies ng third quarter sa English po, pero mamaya din po, banggitin ko din po yung sa Filipino. Dito po sa grade 1, kung mapapansin po natin ay ang kanilang competencies dito sa third quarter, use words that are related to self, the family, school, community, and concepts such as the names for colors, shapes, and numbers. So, napansin ko rin po dito sa modules po weekly, every week po talagang merong ganitong objective po sa grade 1. Kasi hinihimay-himay po nila yung related words about family. Example po, di ba? Yung mother, yung father, brother, sister, and then extended family like grandparents, no, grandmother, grandfather. Yun po. So, minsan nagbibigay pa ang mga bata ng iba pa. Meron pong cousin, meron ding uncle, may aunties, di ba? So, nakikita natin talaga na ma-expand yung vocabulary ng mga bata. And then sa school, di ba, about the classroom, kunyari kung ano yung mga bahagi ng school, o kaya mga school personnel such as teachers, principals. So, yun po, yung marerelate natin yun, magkakaroon ng connections po. Sabi nga ni Teacher JC, do not teach only one word. No? So, expand their knowledge of words. Then, community. Yan, di ba? Sa grade 1 po, may mga community helpers like firemen, policemen, or teachers, vendors. Ayan po. So, And concepts also, the name of colors na related din po ito sa mag-interconnect po ito sa other content areas po such as math and arts, no? Then the shapes and numbers po. So may ganun na rin pong lesson sa grade 1 po in preparation din po sa math subjects. So next po is sa grade 2 naman po, ito po yung nakita ko ngayong third quarter. Recognize that some words may have the same or opposite meaning. So yung binanggit po ni Teacher JC kanina na synonyms and antonyms po, no? So nandito na po, start na po ng grade 2, ipinasok na po yung lesson na yan. So dinedevelop na po yan yung big and small, yung short and long. Sa Filipino po, maikli, mahaba, malaki, maliit, yan. So, sa mga antonyms po yan. So, unti-unti lumalawak na and minsan magugulat din tayo sa mga bata. Meron din silang naibibigay. Sabi nga ni Teacher JC, may incidental na talagang lumalabas din. Kaya yun din ang babantayan natin, yung mga lumalabas sa bibig ng mga bata. Kaya kung meron mang mali doon sa kanilang nasasabi, we can right away correct them. At kung meron man tama, i-recognize natin ito at para maibahagi din sa ibang mga bata. Then we have also, in grade 3 naman po, ayun po, recognize some words represented by common abbreviation. So medyo level up na po yung lesson, no? Like Mr., Avenue, and then yung October po, yung sa mga months po. So, yan. Unti-unti habang tumataas ang grade level ng bata, dumadagdag po yung knowledge of words nila. And kung kanina po sa grade 2 ay recognize vocabulary through synonyms and antonyms, dito po sa grade 3, increase vocabulary through synonyms and antonyms.
Maraming salamat, Ma'am Melissa Opeña. Talagang naibahagi niya ang kanyang karanasan, di malilimutan karanasan nang siya ay naging guro ng grade 1 at kung ano naging na magturo sa mga bata, lalong-lalo na sa grade 1. Kaya sabi ko nga, ang mga guro sa grade 1 ang pinakamahusay na guro dahil sila ang nagsisimulang magbigay ng pundasyon na kaalaman sa ating mga kabataan. Siguro naman ay marami tayong natutuhan. Naisip natin na ang lahat ng mga ibinahagi mula sa mga video na mula sa rehiyon, gayon din sa mga master teachers natin ng ating dibisyon, ang ilang kaalaman na marahil ang ilan ay ginagawa na natin. Pero ang iba ay hindi pa, kaya alam ko na mas magiging mahusay tayo sa ating pagtuturo, lalong-lalo na sa panahong ito ng pandemya, hindi mapuputol ang ating edukasyon, ang ating pagtuturo at pagbibigay ng kaalaman sa ating mag-aaral dahil lamang sa pandemya. Edukalidad, sulong lalong-lalo na sa ating mga kabataang Pasayenyo. May ipopost po ang link para po sa mga attendance ng mga guro sa grade 1 hanggang grade 3 po. Kaya alam ko na mas magiging mahusay tayo sa ating pagtuturo, lalong-lalo na sa panahon ito ng pandemya, hindi mapuputol ang ating edukasyon, marahil ay nakikita niyo na po ang link para po sa inyong attendance. Sir Marvin. Muli po ay palapakan po natin ang lahat po na naging tagapanayam sa araw na ito. Si Ma'am Mary Andy Macaraeg, Master Teacher 1 ng Malcaban Elementary School, Ma'am Rowella R. Cadayona, Master Teacher 2 ng Timoteo Paz Elementary School, at Ma'am Melissa S. Opeña, Master Teacher 2 ng Marcelo Elementary School. Diba? Talagang mahusay po sila. Palakpakan po natin sila. Maraming salamat po sa mga punong guro nila na talaga naman sinuportahan sila at nirekomenda sila sa amin ni Dr. Imelda Bucorin, ang EPS ng English. Posted na po ni Sir Marvin, video natin, ang link para po sa attendance. Tunay na punong-puno ng kaalaman ang hapong ito para sa atin, lalong-lalo na po sa mga guro ng kinder hanggang grade 1. Sila po talaga sa aking palagay po na ang pinakamahuhusay na guro natin. Dahil mula sa pagtaturo ng magulang sa kanilang mga tahanan, ang mga guro po ng kinder hanggang grade 3 ang nagbibigay ng pundasyon at tatag sa ating mga kabataan sa pagtuturo ng kaalaman mula po sa tunog at sa bokabularyo. At ang susunod na rin po ay pagpapatibay na ng lahat ng kaalamang natutuhan nila. Kaya kung magiging mahusay po at maganda ang karanasan ng lahat ng mag-aaral mula noong sila ay kindergarten hanggang grade 3, hindi po magiging mahirap ang pagkatuto nila, lalong-lalo na po sa Filipino at Ingles. Kung magiging matatag po ang kanilang kaalaman Mula sa tunog hanggang sa pagkilala ng mga salita, mas magiging mahusay na rin po sila sa iba't ibang aralin, mapa Ingles o mapa Filipino. Muli, sa ngalan po ng aming Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Loretta B. Torrecampos, SO5, at ang aking magandang partner na si Dr. Imelda Bukirin, EPS English. Maraming salamat po sa lahat po ng pag-antabay niyo po sa amin. Hindi po dito natatapos ang pagbibigay namin at pagbabahagi ng kaalaman na natutuhan namin sa Hiriyon dahil may 2 araw pa po na matutunghayan nyo ang iba pang kaalaman na magagamit po ninyo bilang mga guro sa mga panahong ito sa panahon ng pandemya. Maraming salamat po sa lahat po ng mga punong guro na lagi po sumusuporta sa mga guro natin ng patuloy na maibigay ang kaalaman at pagkatuto para sa ating mag-aaral. Sulong Edukalidad sa Dibisyon ng Pasay. Maraming salamat po. Magkita po muli tayo bukas. Huwag niyo pong kalimutan na pumirma o pumunta sa link. Naisip ko kasi pagpirma sa link ng attendance para po sa hapong ito. May bukas pa po tayo, marami pang biyaya ng kaalaman ang ating matutunghayan. Patuloy po tayong mag-ingat, pangalagaan ang ating kalusugan, naway gabayan tayo at pagpalain ng ating poong kapal.